What you manifest in your mind, you can bring to reality.
In this episode, I'm talking to Vicky Pezza, who is a podcast producer of many podcasts over the years, currently producing the Point versus Point podcast with Gareth Reynolds. She's also done The Naughty Show and many other podcasts over the years. We sit down and we have a long discussion. This is a long-form interview, so buckle up. I do apologize for the audio quality. There were some technical difficulties. I hadn't recorded long-form audio in a long time, and it's just bad. It's bad audio, and I'm sorry, but it's not horrible. It's a good interview. In addition to being a podcast producer, she's also a new foster mom, and she's also had some drama with MMA fighters who are ripping her off, stealing. She's had crimes committed against her by former UFC fighters. We talk about that. We talk about a lot of stuff. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode, which was originally recorded for my Patreon page, but now released to you on all podcast forms. Vicky Pezza, let's get it going. We've talked before many a time.
Yes.
It's been years. So much has changed. I, took all my social media off. It's been a kind of crazy few years in general. Just culturally, politically,
Right?
social media, like just everything seems to have changed for me anyway. Like I've like shrunken away and just gotten away from everything, it seems like. So, I haven't talked to a lot of people in a long time, you being one of them.
Wow.
But yeah. So anyway, what's been going on with you? I mean, there's literally so many things. I don't know where to start.
Same. I'm like, which road do I go down? You know?
Yeah. Well, let's
Like,
start. Let's start somewhere. I was hoping that a place would start, but it's like there's always 5 things that could start. You're a mom now. Let's start that. Let's start there.
It's pretty crazy.
You used to not be a mom. You have a husband.
Yes.
Who's amazing, Lenny. Right? It's Lenny,
Yes.
right? Okay.
Yes. Oh my God! Imagine it wasn't.
Yeah.
It's like, no, there's a new one now.
It's Charles.
Then he's gone.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That's changed too, you idiot. So let me ramble off a few things. So you're a mom now. I don't know if you're producing any podcasts. You did release one episode of your podcast the end of last year, which I listened to, and I don't know if you're going to keep doing that or not. You write raps.
Right.
But you're a mom. I think that's probably the biggest thing in your life.
Yeah. Well, because it's a little bit of a unique thing.
Yeah.
It's not like I had a baby.
No. Yeah. And it's not even like even adoption would be, I don't really know that many people that have been adopted or that have adopted anybody. But usually when people adopt, it's, they go for like the puppy.
Yes. Right.
Whether it's a human or an animal,
Right.
they try to go young, so they could program them probably. It's probably like a lot of ego involved or whatever. But
right.
I mean, you didn't adopt something that's, on its last leg.
No.
You adopted a partially formed human.
I have we got her when she was 14. She's already 15.
Right.
She's already 15.
They grow up so fast.
Yeah, it's so nuts. When you get them 2 months before they turn 15.
Right.
It's crazy how quickly they turn 15.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I've been with Lenny, like we've been together 14 years.
Right.
So she was like, her name's Jackie. I'm allowed to say that. There's certain things I'm like not allowed to say. Like I can't post a picture of her, which is crazy, because there's all these rules. But I can say her name's Jackie. I can say she's 15. And it's just pretty nuts. Like, poor dog. It's been such a crazy thing. Like,
I think
'Cause
Izzy
to
is
go from-
protesting adoption of some sort.
Yeah, right.
I think she's very angry. She's, that is culturally, it is her right to voice her anger, I guess.
That is a First Amendment right.
Jesus.
Clearly, yeah, she has something to say.
But yeah, so how did that all come about? Like, because I watch a lot of movies now. I talk about a lot of movies, and Tom Segura was in the movie Instant Family,
Yes.
which I went and saw just because he was in it, But then,
Same.
it was an emotional film, it touched on the heartstrings.
Oh yeah.
But then like a few months later, I find out that you did almost the same thing.
Yeah,
You didn't get
and it's
3
so weird
kids
because we all went to see that because Tom like bought a theater out
right
in
yeah
Thousand Oaks.
Yeah.
So like Jackie and Lenny and I all went to see that movie like with him, like with Tom and Christina was there. Ryan Sickler was there. Like we just ran into him at a pizzeria by accident, like right before the movie.
Awesome.
So I'm glad you saw that because that's like it was pretty realistic.
Right.
The film, more so than I guess I was expecting it to be, except everything went real fast in the movie. It was just like, hey, let's go to a class. Boom.
Right.
Oh, we got the kid now. Like,
Yeah.
It's a little bit longer of a process than that.
Yeah.
But that wouldn't be a fun movie to watch. Nobody wants to watch a year of 2 people taking classes and being judged.
The Boyhood of like adoption movies or something. It's
right,
like we don't want the reality of it. Give us the Disney version for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So is that because that was based on a book, right?
I think so because it's a real story.
Yeah.
Like they're real people. Sorry, I keep getting up to take my dogs out, so I feel your pain, Ray.
That's
go. Yeah. So like what basically happened was a few years ago we got it's such an insane story. Like the way we got there. A few years ago we got one of our 2 pit bulls, Cody. We got him first, and they said when we got him, he can't be with young kids in the house.
Right.
And at the time, it was like, well, we don't have young kids. We don't have any babies, like whatever. And we just like get this dog because it's cute. And then we get another dog. And, now we have these 2 pit bulls. And it occurred to me like later, like maybe a year or 2 later, like, oh, wait a minute. These dogs, we're going to have these dogs for like 10 plus years.
Right.
And one of them can't be around little kids.
So were you,
Oops.
but were you thinking of having kids or just adopting younger kids?
I guess I was thinking of having them at some point. Like in my head, it was just like, oh, like at some point we'll have kids. And then all of a sudden it's like, your 20s are over. Right. Then it's like, you're halfway through your 30s. Then you have these dogs and all of a sudden, like I'm crunching the numbers and I'm like, wait a minute, like if we have a baby right now, like how old will we be when that baby graduates high school? And what are we going to do if, if anything happens where like our dog can't be around this little kid? Do we get rid of the dog after all these years? Like I love Cody, but obviously I would love the baby more and have to protect
it. You don't know that. You're assuming
we don't
so
know
much.
That for sure.
There's a lot of biology and science and whatever, but
I know
some people hate their kids.
What with the growing in you and some sort of chemical, who knows?
Right.
It was just like kind of as a joke. It was almost like, well, I wonder how you could just get some older kids. What if we just started older?
Yeah.
So I just kind of Googled.
So that's how the idea of adopting.
Yes.
Wow.
That's how like.
You were thinking
random.
Logistics.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's how random it was. Like
that's
the
cool,
dog wouldn't like a baby.
Right.
I wonder how you get older children.
Right.
And then I started Googling and I found this thing called KidSave in LA.
Right.
And it was like, and we're a part of that. That's not how we met Jackie, but it is a thing that we did where and we still can do it. Like we're like a kid safe family. So you go through this whole process, and it's almost like mentoring. Only with these kids, it's like the whole point is it's from ages 9 to 17, and you go to events and you hang out with them, and like you drive kids around, and
like a Big Brother kind of a thing.
Yeah, like it's almost like that.
Temporary family.
Yeah, like these are the kids that they're all LA County, and they're kids where their parental rights, it's not that the parental rights have been terminated, but it's like they've their reunification, they're not doing that anymore, because California won't get rid of parental rights unless you're set for adoption. Like they'll transition from one parent to the other, but they don't want to create orphans. That's, I guess, the law thing. So like in Kids Save, it's like, all right, the reunification process is over, like more or less, like no one's coming. So you sign up to host kids where the whole point is to find them a permanent family. But we were going there like we want to be the permanent family. So we had like a little bit of an agenda, which was to like hang out with kids and like see who likes. Yeah, exactly. See who likes us. Because it's like speed dating. It really is.
It's like the pet shop in the mall.
100%. Yeah. Only if the pets could write you down, because like the kids are writing down what adults they like. And the adults are writing down what kids they like. So that way no one makes any promises to each other.
Right.
And the people running it collect the papers at the end. They see if there's any matches. And then they kind of set it up where it's like, oh, well, you wrote down, there was a kid named Michael who we were writing down all the time. And it's like, all right, well, he wrote you down too. So why don't you drive him to the next event?
That's so weird.
And spoiler alert, we might be working on trying to get him as well now. So that just would really be crazy.
Wow. How old is he?
16. He's even older.
So it's like, you only have a few years, and then, I mean, I don't know with kids nowadays, but until they're 18.
Right. And this is all like, because this is all foster care. I mean, I guess that's obvious. Yeah. I know I didn't explicitly say so, but it's like, kids don't just show up at 16. So there is like kids potentially age out at 22 in our state now. And I think that they have even more like perks, because you know how like it is now where kids can be on their family's health insurance till 26. I think they have something set up for these kids too in that way, but I'm not 100% because we're not there yet.
Yeah.
Like we haven't officially adopted anyone yet, because that takes a long time too. And we might, I imagine we might be doing that once these kids are adults, just so that we don't take any of their, like their Medi-Cal or anything they have coming away from them. So it's a little like you're trying to like almost use the system to your advantage, because it's not really full of perks, like like for the kids, even if you were to get some sort of stipend, like if the kid ages out, it's like, well, where are you going to live in California for what the state would give you? Like it's a struggle, and it sucks, like they need families. Like everyone needs families. That's the main thing, even if you're older. We never went for, we were going for the older kids the whole time, which apparently is very, very, very rare and crazy to everyone we dealt with. No one, usually people do not show up like, I want the teenager. No one shows up like, all right, I took a teenager, but there's another specific teenager I want from a different county. They're like, whoa, we don't even know if we could do this. Like, like that.
It's like more hurdles. I think we can do it.
Yeah, like everybody's like, wait, you want to cherry pick a kid that you want who's in LA, but you're in Ventura.
Right.
Like it's literally like people are having meetings about what we're trying to do because no one's ever tried to do it, which is so nuts.
I mean,
to me,
yeah. It doesn't seem nuts to me, but I understand why a lot of people think it's nuts. because everybody, they want the puppy, they want the young kid, and I'm sure a lot of it's, they're like, I'm gonna mold them.
Yes.
It's like so much ego involved, but it's so, it's weird. It's weird in a way, but like, to know you, it's not really weird. I mean, it is actually extremely weird that you would want kids.
Right.
I mean, I'm not hanging out. I'm not hanging out with you and Lenny on a regular basis or anything, but it's like you didn't seem to have like the mommy fever or anything like that. But
no,
I guess it
definitely did it. Yeah.
I guess it strikes now and then. So it's
it's crazy too, because you have to like these people are going to look into everything about you. Like me and Lenny could have just had a baby. We don't have to say shit to anyone. You know?
Yeah.
Just have a baby. No big deal. But to this, it's like, okay, I knew, and as you know, there's a lot of shit that could surface if you simply Googled me.
Right.
So how do I
mean,
navigate
you've
that?
literally spent time to make it easier for people to find you to Google. Like SEO is like part of a strategy when you're trying to get, but then, at least you have that one episode on, the Too Hot for, whatever that Naughty Show episode was that you put up for sale.
Right? Oh, right.
So at least there's a paywall somewhere for that one. It's like, well, at least I don't have to worry about that one.
Right. It was definitely, I mean, the biggest hurdle. And this is why too, like I had to tell all the truth, because I do shit like what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
Talking very openly about real things and putting it all over the internet. Yeah. So I just let it be known, like, hey, there's a lot, like I said, like, you're taking our fingerprints, you're making us go to the doctor. We had to go to the DMV. We had to give, blood, urine. I mean, we're not handing the urine over to the government, but we're handing it to a doctor who's writing up stuff about us, who's then giving it to this agency. Because we worked with an agency, so it's like a foster to adopt agency. So they try to clear you, like their standards are even higher than the counties, but you get more support when you use them, that's why we want to use them, because we don't know, we don't have kids, we don't know what the hell we're doing. Right. So like even the basics, like what am I supposed to do? What do kids eat? How do you treat them? Can I touch the children? May I hug the children?
Are they still wearing diapers?
Right. Like can they be in the bathroom alone?
That is true.
What if they have a friend that can drive? Like, we're dealing with like really old kids, Yeah. So there's all these rules and stuff, but I had to be like, okay, if you're going through all these motions, the idea that you would simply Google me just seemed like 100%. Like the odds would be 100% that they're going to Google me. And what am I going to, how am I going to explain LA speed weed? That was the weed. That was it. That was my biggest, what am I going to say about this? Yeah. So there was a box, just like the very, and in California it's legal. Right. So it's like, okay, well, on the very first page of the application, there was a box that was like, does anyone on the property smoke cigarettes? Which I quit smoking cigarettes, which is crazy because I was a huge chain smoker.
That's
didn't
the crazy
quit for
thing.
This. Yeah, didn't quit because of this. Just had like I guess July.
Are you?
But like not last July. Like I guess it would have been July of 2017. Okay. Like I quit cold turkey almost by accident. Because I watched a video that was like, you'll never smoke again, and it's like bullshit. But I really didn't.
Wow.
It's like, oh, okay.
Did you share that video on Twitter or anything?
I didn't say shit. I didn't say anything because I was like, I love smoking so much, and like I didn't want to be one of those people. Like anyone can stop, because I really didn't mean to stop. It was a video of, that book, The Easy Way to Quit Smoking. People always talk about like, oh, you read this book and the book tells you to smoke, and like as you read this novel, I guess like it's supposed to wean you off cigarettes. Well, I watched a YouTube of that book. Like,
the modern.
It totally worked.
Right.
Yeah, like it totally worked. And just to see what the book would be like.
Right.
Like totally thinking like, I don't believe this could work at all. And it did. And so I never did. I die at those Ray Liotta, the Chantix commercials, because it's like, Ray, just stop. Not you, Ray.
Yeah.
Ray. Right?
I understand.
like it's
Leota.
literally like, yeah, Leota, please, honey,
Right.
come on, just don't like the next one. It's that easy.
Right.
But it doesn't seem like it's that easy, you know? But anyway, I'm like all over the place. So
it's okay.
It was like, you know, do you smoke cigarettes? No, I didn't anymore, by the fucking grace of God. Then it's like, do you have a prescription for marijuana? But I didn't. I've never had a prescription this whole time.
Wow, rebel.
So I said no. Yeah, like
holding out to the end. It's like legal or nothing.
To the bitter end.
I'm not.
And I have like metal rods in my back. I totally could have gotten the thing, but I'm no, I will never pretend. Like I'm fine. And so then it was like for recreational, and I didn't check it. And the lady that came over, I'm like, yo, are you like our lawyer? Like, is there confidentiality? Like, can I ask you a question? Will it get me in trouble? So I asked her, like, if I check yes to this, is it going to be like a problem?
Right.
And she made like it was going to be no problem at all. So I check yes, because I'm like, I'm stupidly honest all the time. Another huge problem I have, like, shut up, just lie. But I just didn't. So that became a huge issue, of course. And then it turned into, you are going to need to get a medical license. And I had held out all these years. So then I got a medical license.
Which is, it the
became,
easiest thing to do.
In the world,
you
know, then it became, well, we need all this paperwork from this doctor. We went and got so now it's like, now we're dropping money. We're driving into Hollywood. Like, you know, you're paying $20 to fucking park every time. Like, it's a huge, huge bitch. And basically they weren't accepting my medical reason was, PMS, which I thought was perfect. 'Cause that's the next thing they're going to start diving into the reason you need the prescription. So if you say something like anxiety or migraines, or you need proof that I didn't have.
You just said you have metal rods?
Yeah, I had metal rods in my back, and
why didn't you
that's what my friend Shannon was like, why didn't you just use that?
Yeah.
And it's like, because I was like scared, like I would jinx myself. Like because my back doesn't hurt, it never hurts. Nothing's wrong.
Right.
But I was afraid to use that, like I would be bad karma or something.
I mean, there is like a nocebo, you know, where you think something's wrong and then it happens, just kind of like a placebo, but for negative. So there's, aside from like the woo-woo voodoo kind of, you know, look at that.
Right.
Like medically, you could be right. You could actually have manifested back pain.
Oh God. Yeah. And that would be like
Although it is the no-brainer as far as an excuse to get a weed card.
Oh, 100%.
You know?
And I could prove it. And to me, like the go-to would have been, because what I really think I do use pot for all the time is anxiety.
Yeah.
I am just through the roof anxiety. But then you start to go down this path of, oh, so you have anxiety. Well, you know what really makes you anxious? Foster kids.
Right.
Like it's like they're trying to trap you, basically.
Yeah.
So it just got to the point where, because they kept fighting me and I kept not wanting to back down about it, because it's such a huge part of my life. So it got to the point where the boss of the agency came to our house. Like the whole boss, the supervisor of like all of SoCal, like came to our house, and she literally was just like, look, I don't care if you smoke weed. Like, we're not the police. We're not going to drug test you. We're not going to search your house.
Right.
But I'm not, like, the fight was not about whether or not I'm allowed to smoke it. It's whether or not you're allowed to keep it in your home. That's what this fight becomes.
Right.
Now, you get how if I don't keep it, if I can't keep it in my house and I can't keep it in my car, where the fuck am I supposed to put it? Like, how am I supposed to live?
Get a locker. Duh.
Yeah, now you're putting me, like, it's like now you're making me leave the house to do something that it's like creating more risks.
Right.
Almost.
And it's like a stupid hurdle that could almost force you to break a law in some way, you know? Like,
100%.
oh, well, you can't like store it outside of your house either, technically. But, you know, just kind of put it in the cloud, like your music. Just put your weed in the cloud.
Right. Exactly. Like,
we're the government. That's how technology works, right?
You should have heard the shit I was coming up with Gareth, because I was like freaking out because I thought this was gonna ruin the whole thing.
Just keep it at his office, his writing office with Evan, and just like show up there every time you need to smoke.
Every day.
Yeah.
Right, every single day. Yeah. And I don't drive. Like, I don't smoke and drive. Like,
right.
I'm terrified of driving. So I never drive if I smoke. So it's like this huge, like, this is like a real
I don't like driving
bullshit thing,
either.
You know? But me and Gareth were saying, like, get balloons, like get helium balloons that are just full enough so that it's like hovering in the yard. Yeah. So it's like, it's not on the property. This is not on the property.
Gareth is probably just remembering some Dollop episode where some guy used a loophole where it's like, well, it's technically in the air a certain, and that's public airspace, so you're okay doing that. It's like the ocean. It's like open water.
Right. Yeah, right. There's no law here. This is the air.
Yeah.
This is the sky. I'm in the sky now. Oh my God.
I can't imagine like the reality if like that was the game plan that you decided to do and you just stocked up on like helium tanks and balloons.
And
sponsored by Speedweed. Like Gino's like, I'll buy the balloons, man. We got tons of them with our logo on it. Just fly them, you know. It's actually marketing. We'll give you some marketing budget headed your way. It's good to go.
It's so funny. Like, yeah, that was the biggest problem.
So what's the solution? What did you do? Did you just stop smoking weed?
No. Okay. I'll never stop smoking weed. I'll never stop.
I was scared for a second. It's like, no, she stopped?
It's so insane. I would have never dreamed that I could have even stopped smoking cigarettes.
Right.
I literally can't believe I did. But smoking weed, oh my God, that does something for me. I need it. I would say the first month Jackie was here, I didn't smoke because I was so terrified something was going to happen. Like, what if somebody comes here, or what if I have to go to school? You just don't know at all. Like, I didn't know this girl whatsoever when she came to our house. They dropped this kid off with her stuff. She lives in our house. It's crazy. Yeah. So it's like, I don't know if the school going to call me? She got into a fight. Like, I didn't know who I was dealing with yet. Now I know she's a good girl. Right. But like, you know, I was scared for sure. Yeah, I mean, I found a lot of loopholes around it. I'm not going to share them.
All right. Jeez. So for anybody else going through this hardship,
this would be my advice to you, to anybody else. Like, lie. Never mention the weed at all. Don't mention the weed. No one gives a shit. They don't even give a shit. Yeah. But it was almost like this lady came to our house and was like, it was somebody looking at you like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Just lie.
Right.
Have you thought about lying? And I'm just like, you know,
it's like, I'm supposed to be honest though. It's like, you're forcing me to lie to like make this thing work. It's like, why can't we just fix the thing?
Exactly.
So ridiculous.
Exactly. You know, and they're like, you know, because some of the kids get taken for drugs, and it's like, no one's getting taken for weed in California. That's not what's happening. Yeah. So it's, you know, maybe you could stack that on top of a pile of reasons, but
although you can get a DUI. I almost got a DUI.
Oh wow.
But
really?
It was like I was smoking. It was before, like, I was literally moving to Denver like a few days. I was driving and I went to go see a movie, smoked half a joint in my van, and then, you know, went and saw the movie, went to the grocery store, bought some groceries. On my way home, a cop's behind me, and I'm just like, anytime a cop's behind me, I get nervous. And I wasn't even thinking about the weed, because I'm wearing my Culture High t-shirt. Right. I've got my medical marijuana thing. Like, the law is on my side. Oh, and I'm white too, but still I'm nervous. There's a cop behind me. So I take a turn way early before, you know, the block I need to turn on. And just so happens that there was a stop sign on that corner that I didn't even notice.
Of course,
So I make the turn, I get lit up, and I'm like, fuck. And I get pulled over, and the first thing I roll down the window, he's like, "You've been smoking?" I was like, "Yep." Like, you know, same thing with you. It's like, be honest. But it's like, I
Yeah.
got the paperwork and everything. It's like, here's this. And, and he calls back up because he wants to search my van, which is fine. I had nothing in it except for the half burnt joint in the fucking non-ashtray in the center, like an idiot. Like, just, it's there.
Right.
And then I had a few more joints on me. But, I'm sitting, he's searching my stuff. I'm talking to this other cop. He's trying to, like, school me on the dangers of marijuana, while I'm wearing a fucking Culture High t-shirt. And, like, it's like, dude, you have no idea how educated I am on this subject.
Right.
And it's like, I'm not even going to bother. But, and right when they give me my ID, he mentions that, I could have gotten a DUI, and like right then I instantly, because I was pretty calm through the whole thing, but right when he mentioned that, I was like, the instant anxiety panic attack, and I was like, holy shit, and I just got the fuck out of there. But it's like people, but it's like, I don't understand how they test for it. I mean, I understand if you reek of weed, that's why I don't like smoking in my van, plus I drive Uber and stuff, so I don't need them thinking I'm high. But yeah, it's just, the DUI, other than that, it's like, there's nobody's like getting busted. Thing. Yeah. Which it's like the thing of that they say when you smoke weed, you're way more paranoid. I drive way safer when I'm high than drunk. It's like, it doesn't impair my reflexes or anything. I'm way more paranoid that I'm like driving too fast, like I'm way more on my shit when I'm driving high.
Oh yeah.
That's why I don't like it. It's like, I can't be comfortable doing this.
Same exact reason. It's like, I don't not do it because it's like, I'm too fucked up, man.
Yeah.
I just don't, it's like, it makes me so paranoid. Yeah. Like, I feel like, oh my God, like, you're going so slow. What are you doing? Yeah. I'm going to get pulled over for driving too slow.
Yeah. That's what you would be getting pulled over for, is going too slow usually.
Right.
Yeah. Now I can drive high, and I've driven like, on edibles. It's like, it's possible. Yeah. But, the one time I was on edibles, it was during traffic in San Diego. So it's like, I can move a few feet a second.
Right.
And be completely I was in my car for a few hours before I got up the courage to drive, because it was just, I took way too many edibles at the beach, and it was, but it's like, I can get home in traffic. That's fine. I can handle that.
Right.
But yeah. All right. So you have a kid now. You're looking for another kid.
Yeah.
So
crazy.
is Lenny like, playing catch in the backyard and stuff? Well, I guess it's a girl, so she's not. So what are kind of the mom things? Are you wearing mom jeans? Did you get a new haircut? What's different?
The main thing is like the food situation in our house. We have some here now. That's a big difference. Right. We've been literally like, the whole time we've lived in California, the whole time we've lived together, it's like, yeah, all right, I'm hungry. What do you want? Let's go out and get it, or like, hey, we need snacks. Let's go to 7-Eleven. Now it's like weekly food shopping trips. It's like planning out meals. It's like we're going to have dinner together from food in the house.
Wow.
That's crazy to us. That's like, what?
You on the Blue Apron train yet?
Oh, not yet, but I get it now.
Right.
Now I get it.
Right.
Because to me, it's like, who wants to be bothered making shit? It's like, because we can't just go to Fridays every day anymore, because kids need shit. I don't know if you heard. Like, it's
fucking kids, like, man.
They need stuff all the time.
Right.
A chorus dress, and then you got to get the chorus dress altered. And it's like, I was just on a website the other day because I got to get a yearbook.
You like, gotta get a yearbook?
Forgot about all this shit.
You just need to.
She's like, I didn't get one last year. And it's like, well, damn it, you're getting one this year. And then like, I look it up and I'm like, true. Jesus Christ.
What are yearbooks going for nowadays?
Just like flat with no, because you got to hear all these extras.
Oh yeah.
Like the lowest is like $50, which is pretty much what I remember paying, but not in middle school. She's in middle school. I should mention that she's in 8th grade.
Right.
I don't. So
I think I got one yearbook in high school, and maybe 50. I want to say 20, but then again, I don't know. I remember stealing one this one year, or like
that's the move.
Yeah, because I used to do the morning announcements. I would produce them. And so me and my buddy, we had access to like their servers that would, broadcast to all the TVs.
Right.
And they were storing yearbooks in that room. So while I was, playing the day's, announcements or whatever, I stole a fucking yearbook, which is pretty pointless because like you could tell it was from the year before because nobody signed it. It's like the saddest yearbook,
Right.
Not that a yearbook is useful for anything ever, but
never. Yeah. I think my sister has all of mine.
But I remember they were trying to upsell all of those, the packages and stuff like that. That was all.
Yeah, man, that's what they're trying to do. It's like, okay, so $50 for the yearbook, or for $64.99. Like, I love how they throw that in.
Or 3 easy payments of.
You could get it personalized, and it's like now it could say her name on it. Okay. We offer blank pages for autographs. Like, wait a minute. That's extra?
You have to pay.
A blank page?
That's ridiculous.
A set of pens? Like, what?
It's like we're paying you to not do anything to this paper.
Just give me more blank pages.
That's ridiculous.
And it's like, wait, the $50 one doesn't have blank pages? Like, I'm confused. What? Oh my God. And I'm probably going to end up buying the upgraded one and not even say anything. Like it'll just get delivered to her in homeroom and she'll be like, oh, thanks. Like, it's just like, okay.
Yeah.
This kid's funny as hell. Like, it's just really funny. Okay. Another huge thing. Right. I have to wake up every morning and drive her to school.
Right.
This is like, I'm usually going to bed the time I'm waking her up.
Yeah.
So forget all of my usual behaviors of being up all night editing and just stopped. I'm like falling asleep like a normal person now.
That's crazy.
I mean, this is how most people live all the time.
Yeah.
But for me, it's like, this is crazy to me how different everything is.
That's kind of how this house operates too, because the kid here is 5. So getting up early, it's like, what is going on? So for me, I can barely sleep in now. So I just go to sleep earlier or don't get much sleep. But I don't have the responsibility of that child, though.
Right.
He's in the area. But
you're under the same roof.
Right. So I get a different perspective. I get to see like them try to figure it out.
Right.
But
I mean, now, like, I feel more than ever, like, to me, like 5 years old would be like, I'm scared. Like, I need it to be like, I need a kid to be like, hey, I don't feel good.
Yeah.
Okay. Should we go to the doctor? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And then we do. And she gets penicillin and she takes it on her own. And it's not anything like, I'm not begging a kid to like force feed them, like amoxicillin that tastes like bubble gum, or none of that's happening. It's very much like she described the Christmas tree to me. And I was like, you need glasses. Like, wait, that's not how it should look. Nothing should have a halo on it. What? Like, she's like, when I look at the tree, all I see is a bunch of colors. Like, and we're going to the eye doctor.
Or I thought we got rid of all those brownies. Right.
Oh my God. Oh, right.
It's like, I think that's
Don't
a
eat
lot.
Anything in the house.
Yeah, I think that's a lot if you're seeing just blurry colors. You've gone way too far.
Holy shit.
Was Joey Diaz over here?
Yeah, like, have you mentioned this to anyone before this moment?
Yeah.
That should not be how you see.
Man.
So she has glasses now. Yeah.
Right.
There's been some shit.
Yeah, how do you go through school not being, I mean, you wouldn't be able to see, do they use boards still in school? I don't even know what kids are going through nowadays as far as education. Like
I
iPads
think they all
and
have,
smartphones.
Like, computers, but like not. She doesn't bring it home. Like I think they are using computers. Oh, here's what's crazy. Well, not for you, but for me.
Right.
This is like West Beverly to me because her lockers, everything's outside. So we go on the campus and it's like, holy shit, their lockers are outside. Like you're walking outdoors. The school is outdoors.
So my schools were like that too growing up out here, but no lockers. I've never had a locker. I mean, they just didn't have lockers available. You just had to backpacks. Although I notice a lot of kids have like rolling bags for their books.
Just a normal backpack for her. But I have seen that. Yeah. I noticed that a lot on the streets.
But like if you don't have a locker, then and you have a lot of books, like you're in all the AP classes, then I guess you're gonna need the travel suitcase.
Oh my God,
it's crazy.
We've been to this week will be our third of 3, so the final one, high school orientations, because this town is school of choice, and there's 3 high schools, so it's like we're going to high school orientations already. It's crazy. It's so abrupt. We got licensed on October 30th, and on Halloween they called us.
Wow.
About Jackie. And and it was crazy because and that's why we're gonna so on October 31st, it's Halloween. I get a phone call from the agency. I assume it's because we just got approved and that they're going to set it up so that we could start hosting Michael with because the other organization did not want to start us hosting until they knew our agency would allow us to take Michael permanently. So this shit they tried to do to make it easier ended up kind of making everything a little bit more difficult because the agency got some information about him wrong and thought we needed a different type of license to take him and was like, look, you need more training to take him, but we have a girl here and I need to place her by tomorrow. And here's the story about her. And her story was, I mean, I can't get into why they're there,
right?
But the reason that she needed an abrupt placement was because the foster family she was with and her were butting heads. And when I heard the reasons, it was like, basically they're like her previous, the family that she's currently with, they're very Christian. They're very conservative. There's been some T-shirts they have a problem with. They don't like her wearing shorts. They don't like
the devil has entered their house.
Yes, exactly. That's what it is.
You are the devil.
They're like she threw out, like when she showed up, she was like, oh, by the way, she talks like a Valley girl, 100%. Like it's unbelievable.
Right.
Like, she's like, so have you ever heard of the band, like the Misfits? Because I had a shirt of them and they threw it away. So obviously.
For you, you're like, why would they do that?
I'm like, I have like 3. Like, we have a magnet of them on the fridge. I'm like, they're from New Jersey. Did you know? So yeah, she wore a Misfits shirt to school today, and it's the one we got her for Christmas because this family legit took the shirt from her, which you're not allowed to do. There's so many rights. These kids have rights,
right? And
some of them don't know it, but the older ones know it. And and this girl's just cool and didn't, and I'm like, they're not allowed to throw your shit out. Like, okay, Jackie rolled up with a cell phone. It's hers.
Yeah.
It's biological family members bought her this phone. Now, because that phone is hers, and I did not provide it, and Lenny did not provide it, we're not allowed to look at it, touch it, take it away from her.
Right.
Nothing.
Right.
I mean, if things got really crazy, I could just turn the Wi-Fi off, but then we all suffer.
Yeah.
So there's all kind, like I can't go through her book bag. I can't go through her drawers. Like there's all kinds of rules.
Are these like the things that you wish you could do though?
No.
Right.
I'm glad, like to me, it's a relief that I'm not allowed to because I don't even know how you police the internet for these kids.
Yeah.
And I still don't.
Yeah.
And I jumped right into that age. Like, so she's on an Instagram. She has one.
Yeah.
Because that's another thing. Like, I can't post up pictures of her. Like, I can't go on Instagram and be like, here's Jackie, everybody. Here's a picture of her face.
Right.
But she can have her own Instagram. And it's like, all right, so she's out there. Because it's like, that's on her. That's up to her. It's so nuts.
It's crazy.
It's just wild. Yeah, so it's almost a relief to me. And there's other times where it works out too, where if maybe there's somebody, and we haven't run across this yet, but if there's someone where it's like, I don't know if she should be at their house, or I don't know if she should be in the car with them, I could just blame it on them. Like, oh, sorry, rules. Because really, like, you're supposed to be like, you're supposed to get your fingerprints done. Just almost anyone an adult that she would have regular contact with. But it's up to us to decide that, really. So it's like, she could go to her friend's house. There's certain things where it's like we're fucking super lenient, as I'm sure you probably imagine. We're like really, really easygoing.
You're forcing her to wear like other bands that she's not even into.
Like, she goes to me that her favorite band is Mindless Self-Indulgence, and have I ever heard of them? And it's like, yeah, weirdly, I have heard of them, but I can't imagine the last family did.
Right.
You know, so it's like, oh God, Christmas was so awesome, because it's like, I just noted down everything she liked. She likes all this anime shit I don't know. So every time she got a poster, I would just like write it down, and that was like the funnest part. You know, I loved Christmas, but I don't want to say it's been easy.
Yeah.
But this is a girl who loves school. This is a girl who wakes up in the morning before, you know, she's ready to go before I'm ready to go. So all like the certain struggles, you know, she's very clean. She's neat. She does her homework. She's just a good kid. So I'm not.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not sure that the next round is going to be that way. I'll just put it like that. I'll just try to put it as nice as possible. I know these two kids.
Right.
And I know that I think this boy we know might be a little bit more difficult.
Right.
For a lot of reasons.
Yeah. That's like the kind of the typical view. I'm sure that's why a lot of people thought you're crazy. Is it like, well, if they're in foster care, then they're problem kids, and you're going to have like, they're going to be way more difficult to deal with, and, you know, whatever, which I'm sure does happen. But, you know, you ended up with the opposite of that, like the best case scenario in a lot of ways.
Yes. And,
so
and
far.
our agency keeps telling us that, and they keep saying this is the kid, like, you know, you guys haven't had any kids. This would be a good match for you. And as we're pushing, like, all right, we want them both. They're like, what are you doing? Like, they're just stopping short of being like, no. And at first they were like, no, but then I got the county involved, because Jackie's social worker is the county, and she's just like, look, if you don't let them do this, I'll just take them with the county. We'll get certified through the county, and they could do it like that. Because not a lot of people are knocking down their door to take these older kids. And the fact that we are, and they're like, they were kind of giving us static about it, is a little nuts. But I have a feeling we're going to find out why. Like, I think some shit might surface, and we're going to be like, oh, right. Like, right now, to me, there is no concern. Like, okay, certain things you have to do. You have to lock up all your alcohol. You have to lock up all your medications. We have to lock up cleaning supplies. That's a new one.
Wow.
We didn't have to do that at first because the kids were older.
Yeah.
But now the year change, like 2019, new year, new laws. And now we do have to lock them up, which, again, crazy. These are kids that you would think they have to clean their bathroom. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we don't really have chores for them, but like, it's, just keep your own shit nice. And that might require a Lysol wipe or some Windex.
Yeah.
This is nuts. So Jackie, I'm not concerned at all. Like, she's not this is not a girl who's going to try to drink the vodka or down the pills or steal the car or steal the credit card. It's just that she does not want attention in that way.
Right.
She knows what's going to happen if she does. Then I have to tell the social worker. Then the social worker's going to question her. And then then they're going to tell the therapist. There's this huge team. Every kid comes with this team of people. So she don't want none of that shit. She wants to be under the radar, living her life.
Right.
But yeah, like some other kids that we've met and stuff, have pretty severe behavioral problems, or maybe like they're on medication, or there's a lot happens with, like, you experience like trauma when you're young. So this is, we hit the lottery here, more or less, with Jackie. It's just
and you're
crazy.
Going back in for more.
We're going back to the well.
It's like, but I made money at the casino last night, so this might just be my regular gig. I figured this shit out. I figured this shit out. Vegas is going to be paying me now.
Right. When the first time we went to pick up Michael, so it's the first time meeting this kid ever, and this is like kid save events. So it's like this kid knows we're 2 volunteers, and I imagine most of the volunteers, again, like we're running into a lot of Christians, like it's just people. It's not the normal run of things for us. We're used to, you know everyone. I'm used to, know.
Yeah. Degenerates.
Exactly.
Yeah.
How do I put it? Like, how do I put it in a nice way?
Yeah.
Like,
Well, I mean, they're not
they're
they're productive degenerates,
Right.
Because there's the other kind of degenerate that just,
Right.
Not making much happen.
Yeah, there's definitely nobody's really run into church on Sunday.
Definitely not. Yeah. Well,
let's put it nicely.
Let's just say this world is filled with a lot of crazy people.
Yes.
In a lot of different forms of craziness.
Exactly.
And a very specific flavor of crazy, and then there's another kind of flavor of crazy that's just like, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
And this is like, we rolled up the first time we picked up this kid. It was the house we went to. First of all, I thought it was a group home. It wasn't. It was a foster home. This lady had 6 boys in this house, all over the age of 16. So Michael was the youngest one in this house. The house itself, where if you stood on the street and you looked down the street, you could see the Hollywood sign. So we're in Los Angeles, where It's like I'm looking at the Hollywood sign from this kid's street. And the house was surrounded by razor wire, a fence, locked. Everything's locked, signs that's like, you better not even think about it, and just legit razor wire.
Right.
So we show up, and at this point Michael was probably like maybe the 3rd or 4th kid we've driven. We have never encountered anything this severe before. So we're like, okay. So then he's never coming out of the house. And we're like, yeah, I'm texting the lady. I'm like, yo, we're here for Michael. What's up? So then he comes wandering out, just all la-di-da. And he's like, oh, hey, I didn't even know today was a kids save event. You guys are lucky. You got here, because I was about to go leave. I have community service to do. So doesn't elaborate, okay?
Right.
Then we get into the car, and I go, so Michael, that community service is that for college, or
is this a preemptive community service? Are we getting?
Like, I already know the answer.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, I'm on probation. First 5 minutes, legit, we barely know this kid, and he's just like, yeah, I'm on probation. I got into some trouble. I have some major anger issues. Yeah, I mean, I was a pretty bad kid. I mean, my sister's a really bad kid, but I'm kind of bad. She does drugs a lot. I just smoke weed now, just to help me fall asleep. And I'm like thinking, holy fuck.
Are you 40?
What are you doing? Why are you saying this to 2 adults you don't know who are coming here? Like, I would imagine you would think we're a certain type of person. We're not that type of person, but I would imagine you would think we might be, where maybe you shouldn't be saying any of this right now.
You're wishing he thought you were Christian? Is that
I'm wishing that it hold back a little bit. Feel me out.
But that's I think that's probably a big sign of how, I mean, if you're that comfortable with what you're into, it's like, well, I just don't give a fuck, man. Either you're gonna put up with me, or I don't really care. I'm barely aware of when the kids save events are. I'm lucky. I'm actually getting to probation on time this week. This is crazy.
We roll up and he tells us that we're lucky he's there.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay. Some people might think you're lucky we're here to take you to the event, but okay, I'll play this game. And it might be the way we're dressed. It could be my lip ring. It could have been I had these these heart sunglasses on. Something about us obviously made this kid just launch right into his true self.
Right.
I hope, I don't know. And if this is the good act, yikes. Because
Right.
I mean that, like, this kid was just so honest right off the bat. It's hard not to like a kid like that or something, you know?
It's true. I mean,
so, yeah.
I'm sure he reminds you a lot of the people that you hang out with.
Yes, very much.
You know.
Very much. And there's actually a friend of Lenny's he reminds me of a lot, like
Right.
from Lenny's friend from Brooklyn, where I'm like, oh my God, this kid reminds me of like a young Joe. This is crazy, you know?
But now you're going to be the parents of one of those people that you that you hang out with. It's like, well,
God forbid it's happening.
Yeah.
And we're jumping through hoops to do it. That's what's so funny. Like we're
and now
like,
you're crazy.
Bring it on.
Yeah.
Like, now we're crazy.
Yeah.
And there's and also there's going to be a whole disclosure meeting. Like it's going to be harder. It's not going to be like with Jackie because now Jackie's here. That's the other thing. So they're gonna look at both of the kids' histories and make sure they don't clash. They have a home study on me and Lenny. They're gonna look through everything about our history and make sure nothing clashes. It's so crazy the way they scrutinize every fucking thing. It's crazy, and it's a never-ending people in and out. Like, so tonight at 4:00, I have a social worker coming here and a therapist coming here. That's almost once or twice a month. And at the beginning, it's every week. So like every week, the social worker comes for the first like 2 or 3 months.
Wow.
And then that starts to slow, because we have a social worker and so does she.
Right.
What's going to happen then is Michael will also have a social worker.
You have team meetings.
Yes. Yeah. We've already had one big one and we're going to have another one next month.
You have to rent out the belly room for your monthly meetings.
You got to get them all.
Right. It's like, well, it's going to be way easier, guys. Just pack you all in here. It's 2-drink minimum. I hope you don't mind.
Right. Now, that doesn't have to be alcohol. I'm not here to judge.
They have
You're
water.
Here to judge me.
They have $8 bottles of water you can have.
Right.
Do
you want a $5 beer or a $5 soda? It's up to you.
So why are you doing this, Vicky? Why are you keep going? How far are you going to go? How many kids do you want?
Only this far. Only because we felt like we were heading down a path with this boy.
Right.
And then Jackie just needed us immediately. And it was very hard to be like, no, because Jackie was already in Simi Valley. We were the only licensed family in Simi Valley that had a bed ready to go that was willing to take a kid her age. And if we did not take her the day that we took her, which was immediately with no notice, they were going to either send her to Ventura, the city. So that's about 30 or 40 minutes north of us. So she's ripped out of school. She's not with her friends anymore. Or they were going to put her in a shelter / group home facility and get her. So neither would have been ideal. I mean, going to the other home in Ventura probably would have been the worst. Probably worse than the shelter, if that even you could even fucking wrap your mind around that.
Right.
Because the school and her friends was the most consistent thing about her life. So to lose that would be really, really horrible for her.
Yeah.
But you know, you're all adrenaline up. Like, it was literally like a Sophie's Choice they gave us, and we had no time to decide. So we went with the kid that we could take immediately that was already in town.
Yeah.
But then after that adrenaline wears off and you start, this is your life, I started thinking in my head, like, you know, wait a minute. They said he was this certain level of care, but like they made it like there was more medical reasons, like we would need more training. And then I started thinking, like, but if that's true, why is he a part of Kids Save? Because they have these real, like, the kids they take, they have this huge criteria too. That's, you know, above and beyond. So it like stuff started not adding up to me. So I started doing some research and I found out they weren't right about his level of care. And then I started, like, you know, it's like, you know, this kid already. So it's like, I just missed this kid. I felt bad. Like, I felt guilty. But that wouldn't be enough. Like, I feel bad about a lot of things. I don't run out and fucking get involved,
Yeah.
Like, it was like, I felt like we're just supposed to have both these kids. So, and we have the room. I lose my office. That's something I have to do. I got to dismantle my office and throw my desk in my bedroom. And so it's going to get crazy.
Right.
But I'm like, I think we could do it. And then it was just convincing them why we should do it. And I'm going to tell you this, and I didn't tell anybody this yet, and I'm hoping it all works out.
Right.
But you might be able to watch all of this because since last April, they've been like, this film crew has been like documenting this to make like a TV series. I don't think I could say where.
Right.
I'll text it to you privately.
Okay.
But it would be like a thing like you might be able to watch like where an episode would be.
With you guys?
Journey with us. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. So like it, the whole it's they're making a show about KidSave. So it's like that's another thing that's going on now is like trying to get permission from Jackie's lawyer because she's not LA County, she's Ventura. So like there's all these kids and this like they're making a show about this and like they've been filming us.
That's
it's so
like
crazy.
A crazy other level like layer of difficulty. It's like, oh, by the way, all this stuff. Yeah, there's a whole production going on also.
It's like, wait,
Jesus.
What? Yeah,
So were they just like timing wise, like you guys were getting into it when, like, how did they select you?
Well, it's so crazy because we started with KidSave last January, and it was like right after, like, because Lenny's birthday is the end of January, and I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. After Christmas, like we had been looking for maybe a year or two. I would always show them these videos. I would like pull up, just like an Instant Family. I was the girl watching the videos, crying my eyes out, like, Lenny, come watch. What about this kid? What about this kid? You like this kid? Like just craziness. So I called and we started going, but like you can attend an event, but then you have to go through, like we went through a whole training process with them too. So our training was in April, and in our training class, which was only like 7 of us, like it was small. It was 2 producers from this show that like, they're like, we're going to start. Cause really the show is about, they're following the kids.
Right.
We're just we're just the adults that happen to be there. But then they have to, everyone, you got to get permission. Everybody's signing their life away. So it was weird to agree to do something real that you don't know how it's going to turn out.
Yeah. I mean, editing, a lot of things can happen. But
yeah, exactly. And
that's
and
crazy.
I was freaked out about that. So there was like almost this film crew the whole time, like capturing this story of us meeting Michael and us getting to know him more. And then all of a sudden, all the filming stopped because we brought Jackie into our house. And we have not, and here's the other thing that's like really nuts. Michael has no idea we're doing any of this because we haven't seen him in months. They will not let us have contact with him until everything's done officially and moving forward, because they're afraid if something gets fucked up that it'll be disappointing. It'll be like another disappointment, basically. So I probably shouldn't even be talking about it. But
well, I'm sure he's not a member of my Patreon.
It would be crazy if he was. That would be so nuts.
It would.
He's like, I know her.
Yeah.
They're talking about me. I'm on probation. I lived in that razor wire house.
That's crazy.
This sounds familiar to anyone out there. Mum's the word. The meeting's in like 3 weeks or 2 weeks or something. So like it's this whole crazy thing that, like, again, how I know.
Yeah.
I don't like to count anything until I see it. Once I could hit info on DirecTV and I see that it's coming on that night.
Sure.
Anything short of that, I feel like it could get scrapped. Because that was, they're the people I understood the most what they were going through.
Yeah.
Trying to do this. They thought, Cody, I think they thought at first like they were going to have like all these success stories. And it's like, yeah, not a lot of people like rolling up to permanently take a teen in foster care. So I'm not, and then even the people that aren't necessarily going to want to be on TV talking about it.
Right. Right.
Lenny certainly did not like. wanna. Like Lenny was like, I don't know. And I'm like, no, we have to. We have to advocate. Like, we got to show people it's not that scary. Hopefully it won't be.
Right. Well, I mean, I'm sure you have an idea.
Yeah.
It's not like you had big explosions going on that they'd be able to edit down to make it seem like you're racist or something like that.
Right. Oh, God. Oh, my God. That'd be the worst.
That's crazy. That's so insane. So what are you doing? Are you producing any podcasts right now? Or what are you doing as far as that?
Still doing Point versus Point. And,
right, of course.
Tell Them Steve Dave 400 just came out, and I have a song on the end of that.
Awesome.
So that's cool. There was another show I started making. I'm not going to really talk about because this is so crazy. So I had agreed, and I'm going to do this real generally, but I think you'll really relate to this. Okay. Someone had asked me in 2016 if I would produce their show, and I said yes. And then for some reason they resurfaced this idea. Like the week Jackie showed up here. It was literally like my maternity leave starts and they're like, hey, let's get this podcast going. And I explained what was going on in my life. And they're like, okay, well, no pressure. Take your time. And it's like, I feel like you're not understanding. There is no time.
Right.
So I started after the holidays were over. We recorded a few times, like the people came here, but it's a very elaborate thing. So the pilot episode, I've already pumped like 40 something hours of editing into this thing.
Oh my God.
Yeah, exactly. It is right. It's like such elaborate sound design.
Well, that's what you do in general. I mean, as far as production style, you are more on the like This American Life spectrum, or like Sword and Scale, or there's a lot of production.
I like doing that shit.
Oh, I know. Yeah, clearly. But, yeah, you would have to spend that much time doing it.
Right. It is fucking tedious.
Yeah. Versus like Jamie Vernon, it's live to tape stuff. He's more live production kind of guru.
Right. Or like, Lee Syatt, where
absolutely.
I don't like that. I don't like being live. I definitely don't want cameras involved. Like, it's too much. I want, like, let's record it. Let me sit with it for 30 hours and then I'll let the world hear it.
So 40 hours on the pilot. How long is the pilot episode?
It should be. It's supposed to be. It's a 12-page script, so it should be 12 minutes long. Okay. And I've already put 40 something hours into it. Now, here's another part. Because it's totally this fictional.
Okay.
It's supposed to be. It's like It's fake documentary style. It's a really great idea. I loved the idea, and I did want to work on it. Yeah. But again, 3 years ago, I would have been up all night, getting high as fuck, and sitting there for 10 hours and just grueling, through it. So the other thing is the way, and I'll just to put a pin in this. So this guy knows me because of Point versus Point. So he sought me out, like he came to me with this idea. And again, at the time, like this was like basically a favor. This is not like a job, or I wouldn't even be talking about it.
Yeah.
I'd just be pumping it out and doing it and keeping my mouth shut and collecting money. A little different. So with PvP, it's basically improv. There's a rough outline of where it needs to go. Obviously, the news stories are a part of it, but Evan and Gareth take care of that, and then they record it and send it to me. I edit it. They don't listen to it first. I put it up. So Evan and Gareth are listening to the final product the same time anyone else is on iTunes. It's done. And this has been going on like that for 4.5 years, for 179 episodes. And those episodes take a long time to do. But I already have the template, and they never give me static.
Right.
So with this, I finished a minute clip. And I sent it to the person, and I basically just so that they would understand, like, this minute took 5 hours.
Right.
Like I don't want it to look like because I'm telling them I'm busy that I'm fucking around.
That's a problem I have. Like when I tell people, like, especially the show I do, it's a daily show, video, audio, the whole, green screen, everything. It takes up literally my entire day Sunday. But like they think of the hour that I'm just in front of the camera recording being like, that's it. It's like like I'm literally done at 2 a.m. after starting at 9 the previous day. You know, it's like it's a lot of fucking work, but it's you know, it's like people don't, you know, but they like no concept of producing anything. So it's
none.
I can understand that, but that's a smart idea to give them some perspective on what work you do and what time it takes to do it.
Right. And I definitely could tell he thought I was lying. That's another thing that's weird. And it's almost like, why would I lie about this? Like, I'm not getting paid for this. So it's not like, I'm not saying 5 hours because it's like you're giving me 50 an hour and I'm racking it up. No, I'm just letting you know, like, this is what you're looking at in terms of how long this is going to take to finish this pilot.
I'm not going to be pumping these out.
Exactly. Right. Like, and the other thing is too, I guess I expected it to be like, okay, here's a minute. And it would be like, oh, this sounds great.
Right.
And that would be that. But it wasn't like that. It was like, great. Hey, at the 18-second mark, I want to lose this. At the 23-second mark, can we hear a bigger laugh for this? That, like, because it's like there's supposed to be like a fake live performance. Like, there's a lot of fake elements that are just contrived. Like, I've built them from nothing.
Right.
So then it started turning into every time I would send this guy, whether it was 49 seconds or a minute and a half. The longest clip was 2 minutes. It would be like I'm getting like a page of revisions.
Oh my God.
Which is like, whoa.
Yeah.
And some of the things were like, I'm going to re-record this line because of the way I said this. And I'm trying to explain to him, and you get this too.
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, you got to understand, like, I'm someone that puts a ton of work into these things, but you got to understand that this is a 12-minute thing that people are going to be listening to while they're driving a car, while they're at the gym, while they're cleaning their house. I said, this is not like Little Orphan Annie in the 40s, and we're going to sit by the radio as a family and stare at it.
Yeah.
Like, the podcasts, I don't want to say they're disposable, because this is like narrative, but it's like the idea that you think someone's not going to like it because there's an extra 4 seconds in this part. No one's looking at it like that. And I'm trying to be nice.
Yeah.
So what happened was I had basically almost the whole pilot done, finally.
Right.
And then he wanted to like re-record. It would basically take re-recording with 4 different people. And I'm like, okay, look. I said, I'm not going to make the cuts until I have the rest of there's no point. Like, why would I cut and then rearrange the music when you're going to give me more content?
Yeah.
Like, so I said, I'm going to wait until you give me the rest. But then I let him know. I'm like, yo, this meeting about Michael, I'm only at most we're 3 weeks away. At best, it might be like a week or 2. And at a certain point, I'm not going to have time to do this. I'm going to have to dismantle this room. I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Because again, it's almost like that's another fucking maternity leave for me, bro. Sorry. That's how this works. Like, it's just in a different way. So now to me, given how long these are taking, I figured this is supposed to be a 6-episode series. I only have scripts for 2 full episodes. So I'm thinking that'll give him time to write the other 4 episodes, to make any changes he wants, to record with everyone, to basically rough cut it so at least it's the takes he wants and in the order he wants.
Yeah, get all the pieces, all the content.
Get everything ready.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Get everything ready. You have plenty of time to do it.
Assets. That's what they call them, right?
His response back. Right. Yeah. Get all your ducks in a row.
Yeah.
His response back was, okay, I have an idea. Now, don't forget, this is after I've pumped like over a week's worth of, and I'm saying a week because that's like a full-time job, 40 hours. But that 40 hours was not 1 week. It was spread out for the past few weeks.
Yeah.
And he's like, would it be cool if I came over to your house and you showed me how you put the effect on this scene, and like essentially asking me
to train
teach him how to edit.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh my God.
It's like, are you out of your mind? So now I don't think, like, that's what sucks. I think that I'm going to just not be doing this at all. But I spent so much time working on it. And I feel like it'll be obvious if the person actually finishes. I don't know how the fuck he's going to do it. Period. It's so hard.
Right. And
if you know what you're doing, it's hard.
Oh my God. Yeah, that sounds like like it gives me anxiety just thinking about having to work with somebody that like I don't know, like thankfully I haven't had to work with anybody like that where it's like, you know, and I don't think I would want to. It just seems like such like a pain in the ass and like just a waste of time. Because if you're going to be like putting all that work into something, it's like if you want me to do the work, then you need to trust me on some level to do the work.
Yes, exactly.
But
exactly, and then it's almost like, so it goes from we're collaborating to you're dictating, and now
micromanaging. Really,
you're almost essentially saying, if I just knew how to do these few effects on an editing software, I could really do it better than you. I'm taking it like, I don't think that his intention is to save me time. I think his intention is to have it the way he wants it, which it's like, then go ahead, do it. But I'm not going to sit with you and teach you how to fucking do it. I can't.
Yeah.
So, and I can't because of what you're saying.
Yeah. I mean,
the whole time I would just be thinking, I cannot believe that you would rather learn this than just trust my instinct after the 600. I feel like Brody. I've done 650 podcasts. Like I feel like I'm justifying myself, but it's like, but you came to me with this idea.
Yeah.
And then you waited until I had a kid in my house for the first time in my life and like right before Thanksgiving, right before Christmas, I had such agita and like to try to like get this shit done for this, because at a certain point, like it starts out fun, but there was a point in there where it just became,
it just feels like a shitty job.
Yeah, it would be like the most difficult client in the world, except he's not a client.
Yeah.
He's my friend, and this is supposed to be fun, but it's not, because he's hating everything I'm doing. And also, like, when somebody like he's using adjectives, like instead of just being like, here's a bullet point of what I want changed, he's doing it like, I just need a real quick edit here. Like you can't just use adjectives to make it sound quicker, because it's not quick. Nothing about it is quick.
Yeah, it's like, well, why don't you just change this real fast, and then it's like, but that's the thing when talking to like anybody, talking to anybody that's never done anything really. A lot of times, like any kind of production where it's like, man, there's so many steps involved. It's not like, it's like, I can't teach you. You're like a newborn baby and you want to learn how to hike a mountain. It's like, you just gotta like, you have to like build some skills and know what you're doing. And then like, I didn't just wake up and just like figure it out because the software is easy to use or something like that. It's not an Instagram filter or, it's insulting on a level, but it's just like, it's just ignorance,
Yeah.
It's
ignorance. Someone that it's, to me, like it's somebody that, is in the business. So it's not like, like if Lenny was to say to me, or like if one of Lenny's coworkers is like thinking something's quick, and it's like, all right, well, you're an electrician.
That's true.
But like this person, it's like, okay,
they
even
should
if you
know
don't know
better
how to edit.
Right.
Like, but you are aware that post-production takes an insane amount of time. Like, why do you think that is? Why would it be different in this situation?
That's why it'd be tough to just work with any other creative person, because I mean, when it's so easy to just come up with ideas and changes in your head, but then if you're not involved in the the actual manifestation of that, then you kind of lose touch with the difficulty in making those changes. Like you're not like when somebody tells you, or when he tells you or she tells you, whoever it is, it's like you're doing the work in your head. All of the steps you need to do, and they're like, well, you just do that. Like, it's frustrating. That would be frustrating.
There's like a roll in, like at one part, because it's like it's supposed to be like, we're you and I are voiceover narration, and we're going to be talking about this thing, and now a clip of this thing rolls in, but really the clip is all fake and it's all put together. So it'll be like, at this point, it's like the interviews are cut. There's music under us talking. Now we're cutting to a thing where there's already effects to make the thing sound old, and that has its own music and stuff. And this guy's like, hey, I noticed on the roll-in that one of the three voices sounds muffled. Is there any way to tweak that? And it's like, wait, why didn't you notice that 2 weeks ago when I sent you that clip? Like now this is undoing like 3 levels of thing, right. And you want one voice to say, but it's like, but it doesn't sound perfect because there's an effect on it to make it sound old. Like we're making it sound imperfect. Like I had to isolate the voice and be like, it's the performance. Listen to how breathy it is. Like I can't, it's an impersonation of someone. I can't be like, don't talk like that.
Yeah.
Or the actress will be like, well, that's how this lady talked. And it's like, fuck. It's so hard to explain. And all of it to me, it almost feels like because I'm going through all this with the foster care and getting the kids, like I just prefaced all of it with like, this is what I'm going through. So he'll understand why he's getting one clip a day instead of the whole show, like you might be used to with me. I don't know if he thinks I'm rushing. And that's another thing, there is no rushing. Yeah. I couldn't rush it if I wanted to.
Yeah. It's like, I would love to get done faster. If that's what you mean, I would love to not lose like hours getting lost in this, but that's just the reality of how it's made. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's like, is there any way I could streamline this for you and make it quicker? And it's like, don't make the show.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what, like, you want me to say. Like,
that's a bummer.
It's just crazy. Yeah. So, I mean, because I feel like right now I only have one of 2 choices. One of them is, and here's what can't happen. I can't sit down with somebody and teach them how to fucking edit. No. I'm not doing that. That's just crazy. So that's
more work than just doing it yourself.
Oh my God. Big time. Big time.
You're like, hey, you know what would make this way easier? To put it through a filter of somebody that doesn't know what they're doing. It's like, I'm going to tell you how to do my job. Like that's like the worst way to make this efficient.
Yes. So, and he's like, what software do you use? I'll get the same software, and maybe we could bounce the files back and forth. And it's like, I was thinking, what would make this easier? Someone having access to the timeline that doesn't know how to use it. I'm sure that nothing will happen that'll make the entire show lose sync, or maybe something gets deleted.
It's like, I don't know what I did, but then there's this weird voice out of nowhere, and like, it's like, oh, then you're just fixing problems. That's such a bummer.
Yes,
that's such a bummer. So
it's so crazy.
So is that the only like podcast related thing? I mean, aside from Point versus Point.
That was the thing. Like that was the newest thing, and like it was all going to come out. It was going to come out like a Netflix. It was going to be like, here's 6 episodes all at once. And I'm saying maybe it still will. I've worked with people before where they start taking over everything, and it usually backfires, and then there ends up being nothing. That's usually what happens, where it's like, hey, you do good, but I think I can do it better. Let me get in there and meddle. And then all of a sudden there is no show anymore. Like I've seen that happen before. That's what it feels like is happening here. Or he could really love editing and just enjoy it and make it exactly how he wants. And then everyone hears it and it's really good and it's a hit. But that's another thing that I don't think he's prepared for, because I told him, I think you could spend a lot of time on this, but how are you going to get people to press play on it? And I think he might think that part's a little bit easier than it is.
Well, I think there's like a weird split. Everybody thinks it's way easier or way harder. Mm-hmm. Well, I guess it is way harder in a lot of instances, but the way easier thing, like so many people like want to do a show, but they're like nervous about putting it out and people hearing them. It's like, it's not like there's an audience that's just going to jump on your shit right away. It's you're going to have plenty of time to get used to it before, but I don't know. But that just sounds like a shitty.
I've been
kind
bummed.
of. Yeah.
Because I spent like in my head, like when you were like, yeah, like
it
let's.
sounds like a fun project.
Oh, it kind of was. Like if it was just like literally, this is what I wanted it to be. Like here, this part's done. Oh my God, great, awesome.
Right.
That's it, and then it ends there. Even if it was like, yo, you know what? Like the very first clip, if it was like, we're close, but I need more of this or that.
Right.
But it's like when you get this email and it's like, you know, can you cut these 4 seconds out? Like, I just want to be like, no one's going to notice that.
Yeah.
But I think he's taking it as like, I'm like cutting corners, which again, you know me.
Yeah.
I don't do that
at
all. Even when I should, I don't do that. And so it's this weird thing of.
There's corners that you're aware of that people will never know, you know? Like, that's how aware you are of the work you're doing, that like you like when you work on something that takes that long, it's like you can't help but know every nook and cranny of what's going on.
Yes. And there's a lot of decisions that like I made creatively or stylistically where it's like when you're spending like 4 hours on something and then the person you're sending it to is like, should we put a big laugh after this thing? And it's like, in my head, it's like I already tried like 10 sound effects in that spot, and this is the way I thought. Like it's like I already went down these roads that you want me to go down, and then some things I would change to what he wanted, and he'd be like, "Yeah, I think I led you wrong about that. I think we should undo." And again, you want to hire me and pay me to do and undo revisions all day? Great.
Yeah,
but
definitely, and pay me for it.
Yes, and it's like don't do it like this, where like, and that's hard too, because again, like, you know, Lenny's a nice guy, but so I can't even really ever use him as an excuse, like, oh, my husband's mad. But if he was a different type of guy, it would be like, wait, so you're not working right now, but you really are working. You're just working for this guy for free, and he's hating. Like, it would literally, my phone would go off, and I'm like, oh God, and I look, and it's like an email from him, and it's like, instead of feeling excited because we're moving along,
right?
I feel dread, and it's unmotivating too, because it's like I know I'm about to sit down for like 2 to 3 hours at a time. Like I might do a few sessions of like 2.5 hours. The other day I did like it. I feel like I did 6 or 7 hours the other day, but in 2 to 3 hour increments, like throughout the day, like, all right, I'll do this while Jackie's in school, and then I'm going to do this one while everyone's sleeping. There was a part I was so fucking proud of. It was 23 seconds long. Oh no, I'm sorry. It was 49 seconds long. I'm mixing up two. And it was supposed to be an old roll-in of a newscast. The whole point, this was my idea, because there's a line in the script that says something about, like, this was huge news locally. And I'm like, fuck, you know what would be dope? If right then it cut to the newscast. We got to make a fake newscast. And I knew that was going to be a bitch.
Right.
But I'm like, it would be so perfect here.
Yeah.
So he got somebody to read it, and then I made this little 49-second thing where it's like I put in this theme song. I put effects on everything. I made it sound like old VHS. Like it just, the whole thing was, I was so fucking proud of this roll-in. Like, wow, this only took me 2 hours. I can't believe this sounds so authentic. I played it for Lenny. I'm like, isn't it great? I got the response. I thought in my head, there's no way he's not going to love this. That 49-second clip bounced back to me with 3 revisions. And I'm just like, I give up, man.
Right.
Fuck.
It's just like at some point,
better than this?
Yeah. Well, it's like at some point he wants somebody else to do it. Like for whatever reason, your vision of what you do is not in line with his vision, clearly, because he's constantly trying to tweak it. So it's like at some point, it's like we gotta figure something out, because that's just like I can't imagine something great coming out of. I mean, I guess if there is money in it, you know, eventually pounding out and coming together with something, but I can't imagine that like it being worth it. I guess the time and energy spent.
Yeah,
I don't know.
and because I'm looking down the barrel of 5 more episodes. And it's
it's not
only one more of which is written. So again, it's like, don't worry about what I'm doing. Go
Yeah.
write the rest.
No shit.
Go finish the rest. What are you doing?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Oh, shit. What are you gonna? I mean,
Oh no.
Oh no. Oh no. Maybe they heard Izzy and they're like, we can do that too.
Oh, it looks like it's still going, but I don't know if you can hear me.
Yeah,
I
can hear you.
You paused.
Yeah, I hear you.
Someone's at the door.
All right.
I'm not going to get it. Oh no. What should I do?
I don't know. You can get it if you want. I don't.
That was so weird. Sorry about that. I don't know
what
happened. Yeah, I 100%. Like, I just feel like I don't even know why. Like, to me, it's like, why did you pick me to do this if you don't like any of my choices?
Yeah,
and I'm
it is
too much
weird.
of a control freak.
Well, that's the thing.
Like,
yeah. I mean, the way you do it involves you to be like, you couldn't be just you would have to be obsessed with it to spend that kind of time doing it. I mean,
right.
So it's really comes down to, it's like, you got to like the work you do. And no, I mean, if you listen to your work, you have a style of what, like, you're getting a Vicky Pezza product, so it's like, you need to be shopping somewhere else if you're looking for some other kind of, unless maybe it's like, it's editing.
Right.
But it sounds like still the style that you do, where it's, it's needs a lot of work done to it.
Right. And I know too that, like, he listens to PvP. So it's like, I don't really get how you, and I've done a job for him before in the past, and it was paid. And for this, which also he had 1 million revisions, but again, it was like, I was getting paid.
Right.
It was something he was selling. So I felt like I understood why, like I took it like, he's acting like this because he's selling this product and he's paying me.
Yeah.
And which was fine.
Yeah.
But as soon as that first thing, like, and I thought, well, this one's for fun. Right. And as soon as that first thing came in, it was like, I don't know about this and that.
That's
and I'm
just
like,
how he is to work with.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
That sucks, man. That sucks. Well, yeah. I mean, so if that comes through, point versus point, are you planning on doing any more with Sophomore, or was that last episode just kind of let me get that message out? Yeah,
I really wanted that message out for sure. We wanted to do more, like, and I did get permission to have Jackie's voice be on, and so she could be on it, which means Michael could too. But she's not really into attention.
Sure. Okay.
He is a little bit more, but I'll tell you too, with that, it was literally like, I had just restarted that, and then this other project started.
Right.
And it's like, oh God, I couldn't even think about editing for fun, you know, because PvP is also still going.
Right.
But they're like, I mean, not luckily, but like, they're so busy with work that it's like slowed down to maybe like once every 2 weeks instead of once a week. And I'm just like, not saying shit. I'm like, okay,
whatever you want to do.
I'm busy. Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Send it to me. I'll make it when you're done.
Right.
So yeah, I'd like to go back to, I think that's what I'm going to have to do, is basically be like, hey, thanks. I liked the show. I don't think you like what I'm doing for it. Here's how I'll write down here, like, here's the effects I used and how I did it.
Right.
But I'm not going to sit down and show it to you.
Yeah.
And maybe this will free up more time where now I can make my own.
Right.
Because I needed that outlet,
Yeah.
just having, and I mean, you can obviously relate, like you want to be talking about the shit that is going on up here, know, in your head.
Yeah.
For those listening, I'm pointing to my head. Not like someone else's idea where it's like, it's so grueling, it's just taking me away. Like I need to get this shit out about what we're going through over here. It's pretty unique and crazy.
Yeah.
Help.
But so far,
don't bring me down, man.
But so far, it's been pretty easy for you, though.
Yeah,
I mean,
pretty
as far
good.
as so
far so good.
until the
Can't
next
complain
step
yet.
of complication you decide to go
Oh,
down.
jeez. Yeah, and who knows what that's gonna. It's like that could be like throwing a Molotov cocktail. Who knows? Maybe then everyone gets crazy.
Right.
Will the dogs act up if there's 2 kids here? Who knows? You've heard how loud they can be.
Right.
So, yeah, that's about it. And at some point, too, I'm supposed to put all the raps together and make an album, but that's another back burner thing. Like,
Right.
Jesus, I have like 10 songs done. I really wanted to get 13. Is that, 13% is like a significant thing in Tell 'em Steve Dave world. And I thought that would, let's get 13 songs and have an album. Who knows when I can make another 3? I don't know.
Right.
I might lose the office completely. I'll just be in like my bedroom now in a corner.
I
I have this
mean,
whole nice room.
There's
fuck
super small setups you can get, little whatever I don't know what the thing is called. The little, this is like instead of getting a silent room, little studio room, it's like a little, I don't know what
Yeah,
the
that thing.
called.
I know what you're talking about.
That's
like
all
it goes in front of you.
Yeah. Sign language.
Like,
it's great for podcasting. yeah.
Like you could just put it in front of you and it'll make it.
I'm
And
sure
I think
all the
I can
SoundCloud
even, like,
rappers are into.
Right.
I mean, now there's so much recording equipment. I mean, literally everybody has a podcast or something like that. So it's like, I can't imagine the Zoom Corporation and like the thanks that they have since podcasting's started.
Seriously.
But, yeah. Well, it's good that, I don't know. Did you watch the fights? You still watching?
I
Keeping
did.
Up with the MMA
Yes.
fights and stuff?
I watched the pay-per-view Saturday. I just thought that the Anderson Silva fight was awesome. To me, it looked like it looked choreographed to me.
Right.
Like a beautiful dance between these 2 dudes.
Did you see the promo that they put out? I'd seen it before, but ESPN put the promo out where they like overlaid the anime kind of animation between Anderson and Adesanya.
No.
It's like a Instagram, like somebody had done, those in the past and they licensed it or whatever. But
oh wow,
the whole time watching that fight, I was almost seeing, and I'm not a big anime person. I like watching MMA because, video games. It's cool to see video game moves in real life and action movies in real life, but not really the anime side, which Adesanya is way more of, into anime or whatever. But the whole time doing the fights, like all of the feints and everything that was going on, I couldn't help but visualizing all of those effects. But the fight, it's disappointing that Bobby Knuckles seems to be indestructible in the cage, but then his so many health problems. It seems like he has, like he pulled out just before this one with a hernia, like last minute. And then before his last fight, he had like 3 kind of major illnesses in a row leading up to the fight. It was crazy.
Oh my God.
See,
because I don't even know that. I really didn't know what was supposed to be the main event.
Okay.
Like I didn't even really know those guys, or that we ordered it because Lenny wanted to see Silva fight.
Right.
So then when that ended up being the main event, it was like, all right, well that's cool, but I mean, shit, I wish if they had just known even a week before, so that we could have gotten the 5 rounds. Because I mean, that was crazy what we got. So yeah, I really didn't even know. Like at first I'm like, I don't want to get this fight. Like who cares? Whatever. Oh, it's so much money. And then like I did enjoy it. And all the fights were pretty good. Yeah. I thought the whole night.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was crazy. And I was thinking too, like, man, that's shitty because they're like in Australia. So the idea that there's just somebody else around, I think Cowboy Cerrone was like, I'll do it. Yeah. But like, I'm
Cowboy.
Here.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's like shit. Like there's not even enough time to like get someone on a plane.
That's true.
It just screws up everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, weirdly, like it hasn't been totally ruined for me. Like you would think it might be.
That's true. Well, at least he's not active anymore, so it's
Oh my God. And it's so
although it'd be
too.
easy to root against him now.
Oh my God.
So there would be that side of it. He could look poorly in more fights. I mean, he wasn't looking that great towards the end anyway, but
it was so bad. Like because both of those fights that he did, Jake Ellenberger, we're talking about, there was a kid save event on both days of the fight. So it was literally like we were leaving that world and coming home to watch this guy, where I felt like if this guy loses, he's not going to pay me. I don't think he would have paid me regardless. Yeah. But it was also this thing of like, I don't know how he could win. Does that make sense? Like,
I think so.
Like karmically, I was thinking in my head, like, I don't see how Lenny and I are going to go from hanging out in LA with like 20 foster kids, and then we come home and the guy who ripped me off is going to step into the octagon and win. Like it didn't, like it just seemed like
that's
like,
a weird,
really
weird reality. Like such a weird reality to go from that, the kid picnic thing to like, oh, I'm going to go watch this sporting event to see if, and it's not like I'm betting on this guy. It's like there's debts owed and I'm supposed to be getting paid based on his victory or not, because he's not good enough to have a deal where he gets a flat rate for fighting. He has to still get the win bonus, but it's that's insane. Like, it's not many people are watching UFC fights with that kind of anticipation.
No, no. And it's like this weird thing too, where it's like when he lost, like I'm just staring at the screen because I'm like, this fucks up my whole life, this guy losing.
Right.
Because like any little thing that would like for some reason they made all their problems my problem. Right. And it's like, you're not supposed to make it contingent on like it shouldn't be like, maybe I'll pay my employee if I win a UFC fight, or, oh, I can't pay you this month because my wife had a baby. Like, okay, what does that have to do with anything? Yeah. But really, it's not him saying it. It's like his friend saying it.
Yeah, but it's
when
still...
I saw that fucking race car, it was like, how the fuck are you going to say you don't have money when you are driving around covered in sponsors?
Yeah. Yeah.
It was crazy.
That's
another thing too, like all through like that whole era, like you will be again, assuming everything goes through and you see this television show, it's like, well, here's what I was doing. Like while this guy's texting me that I'm going to pay you in June, like, here's what we were doing. It's like, we needed that money to buy furniture for bedrooms for these kids.
Did you bring that up in the show? It's like, if only Ellenberger had won his last fight, we could have bought furniture.
I literally,
thanks, Jake.
Like, cause this crew's from like England, and I'm like, yo, do you guys have, I know you have UFC, like you got Bisbing, who was a fucking guest for one of the months they like owe me the money for. Right. Can you imagine? So it's like, I was like, yeah, that could be an angle. Could you film me in court? They weren't having it.
Damn it.
But I definitely thought of that. Like,
yeah.
I definitely thought of that. Like, come on, man. And I had told Jake at one point, like, but this was maybe February. So we had just started Kid Save. Like, we didn't have our license or anything yet. And I told him, I was like, yo, I just want to let you know, like, we're doing like work with foster kids and stuff. And your friend is like a gambler who's like the son of a rich guy. And I don't really feel like, I said, even if you don't give a shit about me or my life, like, wouldn't it be a little more on brand for you to at least side with the charitable thing than it would be like this asshole who's like silver spoon, gambler, addict?
Some people like assholes like that, though. It's so weird.
Crazy.
It's so fucking weird how, like, because it's insane to see a person that delusional in the first place, where they're like selling bullshit. But then, like, the entourage that follows them is just like, well, they're clearly all bought into it, but it's just insane. Especially, like, you would think, I mean, I know brain damage is a legitimate thing in the UFC, but you would think, you would think that he's been fucked over by sponsors in the past.
Yes.
You would think that he's been gone through people taking advantage of him in I would imagine a very similar way where some, promoters talking bullshit and then you just never get paid. Like you would think you would have that experience and then, maybe some sympathy. But, I guess some people's allegiances are for the dumbest shit.
Yeah.
It's so
crazy.
Ridiculous.
And I also felt like, like if nothing else, he should understand, because I looked at it like Jake actually did work to get somewhere. Yeah. Like Jake actually did have to train and had to really commit to be a fighter and to get these things, where John Orlando legit just was born to Tony Orlando. And so I felt like Jake would be more sympathetic to me than to his friend. And maybe he is. I know that now, like, Action Junkies is not a part of Jake's bio anymore on Twitter. Mm-hmm. I don't know if they're friendly still. I know after I first came and said everything that, like, they released like pictures of themselves together at a fight. Like, that's the type of thing. It's like, you have money to be at a fight right now. Like, fuck you. Yeah. Like, this is crazy. And the text he would say, like, Jake would text Lenny, like, I'm going to take care of this. I'm a man of my word. Like, we just have all these text messages. Oh, here's something funny. Sorry I feel like you were about to say something. But...
I mean, when people say, like, trust me, I'm a man of my word, it's always like, oof. Why do you have to say that? Like, I don't think I have to say that. Like, I think people just know that they can trust me because I don't fuck people over. But then, like, it's weird when people, like, the things people say that are kind of like automatic things to say in a way, but they're weird things to be an automatic thing to say. Like, trust me,
I'm a man of my word. Like, wait, why wouldn't you be?
Yeah.
But anyway, I was already thinking you were going to do that.
Yeah.
Like, I understand.
Anyway,
so the month that they were supposed to pay in January of 2018, I worked all these months to get to this point where I was supposed to have this big balance paid.
Yeah.
The month prior, in December of 2017, which they paid nothing for at all to this day, the two of them, and this is something that I didn't have on my Twitter thread because it didn't fit. Like, you run out at a certain point of characters.
I didn't know that.
It wouldn't let me take it any further, and there was nothing I could take out. Like,
you're starting to like sign up for like Vicky Pezza 1 account to like make comments on the thread. It's like, I'll figure this out. Exactly. Thread continued on this account.
These guys literally got a painting of Mayweather versus McGregor commissioned for $5,000 and drove it from Los Angeles to Las Vegas to present it to Dana White. So they had $5,000, and instead of paying me, they got a picture. Now, let's be honest. Where do you think Dana White has that fucking portrait? In his closet? Did he give it away? I mean,
unless the artist has any kind of a name or anything like that, that maybe it'll. But, I'm sure he's given a few pieces of art. Especially now, I'm sure he's in with a lot of people with a lot of money that are going to probably spend more than $5,000 on a piece of paint, piece of work.
Right. And the idea, like there's this picture of Dana White with this painting and like the two of them together, like it's the three of them in the painting basically. And I'm thinking in my head, I'm sorry, and maybe I just don't understand the brotherhood of this or something, but to me, it's like if I was a fighter and fucking Tony Orlando's son is like, let's go halfies by your boss. Like to me, it was just the most kiss-ass thing in the world.
Yeah. I'm sure his pitch was like, this is a promotional opportunity. We're going to spend $5,000 to get this post that's going to give us exposure. That's like, oh, we're tied to the art community and the top brass at UFC. So, to validate. There's probably like just a truckload of bullshit that this thing's supposed to magically unlock because I gave Dana White a painting, so now all of my dreams are like, I'm gonna be as rich as the Fertitta brothers now because I gave Dana White a painting. It's like, but again, it's just like there's so many steps that their bullshit doesn't explain. But then, again, when you have brain trauma, maybe it's easier to buy all the bullshit.
Right. Or just think, I'm gonna let this guy talk shit, and I'm just gonna go along with it.
I would imagine I can't imagine you're the only person that they owe money to.
I can't either.
I mean, maybe even that artist that they paid, maybe he didn't even get paid, or she didn't even get paid. It's like, well, we're gonna paint us this painting. We're gonna get you a picture with the painting and Dana White, and your Instagram's gonna blow up, and you're gonna make tenfold what we would pay you. So just think of it as like marketing. It's a wash. $5,000. We'll call it $5,000. How about that? $5,000 for this post. You give us the painting. It just sounds like that's like how, like, it's all just bullshit deals.
He came up, I got to tell you this, because you'll appreciate this on a bunch of levels.
Right.
John Orlando came up with an idea that he wanted to do Action Junkies live. Now, stop right there, because you already know doing anything live is a whole different animal. Like in front of an audience, as if he's a comic or something.
Well, okay? I'm sure he thinks he is. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, he absolutely does think he is. It's fucking ridiculous. Yeah. So he's like, okay, we're like, first he was going to make a deal with South Point, and I already know what kind of deal South Point is giving comics. Like this guy's thinking that a casino is going to hand him over a huge sum of money. So then it became the Palms, right? Because South Point was not going to give him anything. It became the Palms, and he's telling me, this fucking guy is telling me that the Palms is gonna give him $10,000 a show to do Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, a live podcast. Ray, they're not breaking 1,000 plays. They had one episode that broke 1,000 plays, and it was Tony Orlando's. Okay, yeah. And I think Boss Rutan's came close. Who do you think booked Boss Rutan? Me.
Yeah.
He did me a favor.
Yeah. But it's like, okay, go on.
So he wants he says, I want to do Friday, Saturday, and Sunday live shows at the Palms and get 10,000 per show. And I said, you want to do 3 days a week in Vegas, because he lives in Vegas now, but Jake and I don't. So he's like, well, I'm gonna fly you in for the type of money we're making. And I said, you understand that they think you're going to be able to fill that room. First of all, no one's giving you $10,000 to do any. And I said, have you done the math? I said, so you think the Palms is going to give you annually like $1.5 million to do this live podcast that you can't even get people to press play for free from their house? Yeah. Now you think you're going to fill up a room full of people? I'm
trying to think of the podcasts that could do that. I mean, I'm sure there's tons of them that could, but there's not a lot that do. There's no like 3 day a week live podcast. Like I could see two comedians giving up their career in comedy to do that, or like somebody that had a radio show in the past that's, been doing it a long time. But an ex-fighter.
Anthony Cumia.
Yeah.
And it's like, and even he's like really niche. But like why would Marin?
But that doesn't even seem like a good move to do. If you are the person that could do it, let's just say that he gets this ability to do a live show. Like, why would that be the move for a podcast? Like, to do some, like, you got to come up with, like, how much content for, like, I mean, you'd have to have, like, radio background to be coming up with that.
And I said, is this going to be the same show? Or you want, no, I said, so you want to come up with 3 unique live shows a week. And this is, so here's some of his ideas. You're going to love this. One of the segments is going to be called Under the Influencer. He's going to have an Instagram influencer show up live.
That's how he's going to draw the eyeballs and get the people there.
Right. See, this guy has a plan. Ray,
Yeah.
finally, Ray, you're starting to get it.
I see the cards. I see the cards. Sorry. Continue.
So
Influencers. Right.
So I said, but Instagram influencers aren't funny.
Yeah.
They're just, I said, they could barely be guests on podcasts most of the time.
Yeah.
Let alone you're going to have them perform live. And then he goes, well, that's the thing. I'm going to hire someone to write for them. And I said, who? And he said, Tony Hinchcliffe. And I said, why would he do that? I'm dying. I can't even get it out. This is really what he thought. Then he said that it's going to be it's going to be him and Jake and his friend, Ted Stryker, who's a DJ on K-Rock. Okay. And I said, Ted Stryker has only been a guest on our podcast one time. Why would he do this? And it's like, well, he doesn't want to do it until there's money involved. And I said, so you want to do a live podcast with a third host that has never done the show with you before? I said, do you even understand there would be no rapport? I said, what about Jake? I said, you think Jake is going to stand up?
Yeah.
And be able to perform live? Ray, the reason I started editing Action Junkies is because I told Jake I could drive a fucking truck through these pauses. Like I said,
oh my
can't
God.
have you on camera because it would literally just be him like, yeah, I know.
That's
and like
insane.
Just 10 seconds and it would be so weirdly like one guy's blah, 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 and the other guy's literally not saying anything. So it's like, you're going to put him in front of, I would say a crowd, but who would go?
Yeah.
That's what they don't get. Who would go to this?
Well, I mean, in Vegas, to be fair, there's some, walk around crowds, UFC, Jake Ellenberger.
Oh, right,
there's probably going to get people there, but you have to do the job of entertaining people. Like, yeah, okay, maybe you're going to get some people, but what are they going to see? Like, what are you doing?
Right.
Like, you don't even know what you have like, it's literally like a child coming up, like describing how anything works. It's like you I'm surprised that you even worked with them. I can't even believe that, like, because that's just a level of ridiculousness. Have you seen the Fire documentaries?
No, but I referred to them as that. And then when it came out, like that guy, Billy McFarland, like I looked at it like John Orlando's Billy McFarland.
Oh, yeah.
And Jake is Ja Rule, but only if Ja Rule's just not backing down. I didn't see
Ja Rule's not backing down, though. Ja Rule's pretty much like Jake Ellenberger, pretty much. Right. Like, although more culpable, I think. I don't know with Jake because, I think Ja Rule knew he was fucking a lot of people over. Where if Jake, because you at some point you have to understand this is all based on bullshit. Like you sold a lie, and if by selling that lie you think you're gonna reverse engineer that lie to be true, but your idea for that lie to be true, one, is not a good idea in the first place, and two is like. The way it's presented is like, whoa, how are you going to like this? Doesn't make any sense at all.
Right. And that's what
that's ridiculous.
Once he went to Vegas and started, and he's just like, because I said, like, who would the guests be?
Yeah.
And he's like, well, my dad could be a guest, and my dad's friends with Chris Angel, and he could be a guest. And it's like, yeah, but you must understand that these guys have contracts with these casinos. Like Tony Orlando performs at South Point. So if you're at the Palms, even if you're his son, doesn't South Point own his ass? Like, I would imagine that's how it goes. Like Chris Angel.
But that's like not even, that's like one example of probably a million fucking holes in this situation. It's like, where are you going to get the guests? It's like, even if they pulled people randomly out of the audience, they have so much show. There's so much left to like figure out and do to make
what it reminds me of?
Like,
when
even if
Charlie Sheen went on the road.
Yeah. Although that was like, that was the train wreck itself was the show. Like, there's no train wreck there. They don't even have a train wreck. They have nothing. That's I mean,
they have one guy who thinks he's funny and another guy who doesn't speak.
Right.
And the reason that I met these
God.
guys is because of Lee Syatt. Him and I both worked on this show at the beginning, and this show legitimately took place at the casino in Inglewood. So money was coming in. It was handed over to us. Like, they were supposed to get $4,000 a month. Instead, they took $3,000 because John Orlando wanted extra chips in a game. Like, they were doing a celebrity poker or a celebrity sit and go.
Yeah.
So he made a deal with the casino that was like, I'm going to do a celebrity sit and go every whatever night it was, I think Tuesday night. And then we're going to podcast also. So we were like an afterthought. The podcast was like an afterthought. Of course, the casino, what do you think happened? John couldn't get anyone to show up.
Yeah.
So right away, the casino, after like 3 months or so, pulled the funding. So then that Lee wanted nothing. Lee wanted to quit from day one.
Right.
And I was just like, because basically it was like I was going there only to record.
Yeah.
And then he was taking the files. He was putting them up. He was dealing with it. I was just this person who showed up, press record, and then gave the shit to Lee.
Okay.
That was it.
Yeah.
But I saw how badly it was going, and I knew Lee was going to quit because he was just like, they're not listening to anything. Like imagine having Lee, like, who it's like, he has this super successful podcast, and it's like, this guy is going to be your consultant. He's going to do whatever, he's going to tell you what needs to be done. And then John Orlando just fighting with him. And fighting with him. So it got to the point where Lee was going to quit, and I knew it. So I was like, all right, I don't want to lose the money that I'm making here.
Right.
So it's like, okay, I'll just take over the whole thing. But if I'm going to take it over, I don't want to do video. I want to edit it instead. Because I thought if I could edit it, I can control.
Make it better.
Make it listenable.
Yeah. You're going to polish.
Which I did.
You're going to polish a piece of shit, and then.
Exactly. That's exactly it.
And then they took your polished piece of shit, and then they ran it through a shit filter. And then
they're like, how do we get
stuff.
this shitty again?
How do we make it sound like it's coming out of a drive-through speaker?
Unbelievable. That thing where he's like, I'm like,
just
why?
blown out.
What
It's just
fuck?
It's people that don't know what they're doing,
Yeah.
And it's like,
I think they do.
And it's I don't know. But so this is
amazing.
This is him trying to make his old idea work. In Vegas, the location was the problem. It was the wrong casino. If they were in the Palms, then people are showing up to that shit.
Right.
For some reason.
Right. The problem is we were in Inglewood, California, with fucking Los Angeles right there with every star in the world of stage, screen, athletic, music. Here's everyone. No, let's move it to Vegas, where literally people are just there to fight or perform. Yeah. So it's like, I don't.
It's just not a good idea.
It was
to
terrible.
Begin. Like,
it
to
was
do,
a terrible
like,
idea.
I understand, like, what the Dollop does, or, some shows where they go on the road. It works. It works. It makes sense, whatever. But, like, to have just a general discussion podcast in front of an audience unless you, even, like, it's like, it's a weird thing, because it's like you would need professional entertainers, but no professional entertainer would do that because it's not a good idea.
Right. It was so hard to even get them on the show.
Right.
Oh
my God.
The hardest of all the shows I've ever had to book, because it was so weird from the beginning, where it's like, okay, if you show up, like, you get $350 in chips, so now you're gambling. Like, but then at a certain point, once the casino pulled out, now I have nothing to offer you.
Right.
And on top of it, now we're recording in, like, John lived in this, it was like in downtown, like a high rise kind of apartment building. Like, he had like the penthouse apartment in downtown Los Angeles. It was like a $4,000 a month apartment. Right. So that's the thing with these guys. Like, I kept saying, once the budget was gone, I was like, I don't see how you're going to pay me the same because there's no money coming in. And John Orlando made it like I was the biggest, like I was insulting him. Like, we throw money on red. Like, it's nothing. Do you understand? Like, and it's like, well, I know.
I've always got
is
change for the ponies, okay?
Exactly.
It's just like all these gambling references.
Right. It's just, it was like, oh, okay.
Right.
Like, I get it. So you're both like really rich,
but it's
and
like a facade in a way, though. You know, he was angry that you were questioning this mystical, famous, rich facade that he has, where it's like, I'm just worth money. Money comes to me, so why would that even be an issue? But that's like when you grow up and that you don't like failure. You never fail. Like, he's never failed. What is he? You can't fail. Like, he could probably literally kill somebody, and not have to really do it. Nothing would probably happen. You know, I mean, maybe, but it's rare. If you're a rich white guy, you can get away with a lot of shit.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
This was the first time ever, and you know all the shows that I've worked on and the people that I've worked with throughout the years, and like a lot of the content was like, you know, like Playboy, the Naughty Show. There's a lot of dirty content, porn stars, you know, Speedweed.
Yeah.
This was the first time ever with any of these guys that like the show account, like the Action Junkies account. I got 2 emails about someone coming after John Orlando and being like, you better stop sending your fucking dick pic to Lisa or whoever. Like It was like a threatening email, and I got 2 of them. And it's like, holy shit. Like, we literally did a porn show, and I never got anything like this about Sam or Red Band or Gareth or Teeb. Like, I never got anything like this before. What came out about this guy. He's just a fucking scumbag. It's just crazy to me. I don't really understand why Jake kind of went along with it. And I didn't say anything, but it's insane to me that he was on Church 2 times since I put this shit out there.
Was it 2? I saw it. Like,
I can't fucking believe that.
Yeah.
I that is insane to me. Because both guys know this happened.
Yeah,
and
I
Lee
forgot.
Almost set me up for it to happen.
Right. Yeah. Because I forgot that Lee was even initially involved when that podcast started.
Yeah.
But it's like,
And he was like, you know, out him if you have to. And if you need a lawyer, like, talk to Paula, and they don't go out anymore. But like, it's like, you know, I'm not saying you have to jump to my defense, but
still, like, you're associating yourself.
Right. You're basically letting Jake off the hook. You're basically letting a shared, like, I'm really nobody, but the people that do know me definitely know the church. So it's almost like to me, you're defending him by giving him this platform. And as a fighter who is out of the game, who retired, who has nothing new on the horizon to promote or talk about, I see absolutely no reason for him to be there except to embolden him, except to make him
he got
feel
really
better.
high apparently on one of his visits, and that's super entertaining to people. You know, I didn't even I'll watch church as far as what I keep up with, I don't keep up with this, you know, it's always changing, but I was going to try and watch that because it was just after, you know, I saw your thing on Twitter and listened to the episode and kind of understood all of the many things that were changing in your life and going on. But then to see that, like, him on the church, it's like, wait, because that's like, you know, you've been on there a bunch of times. A bunch of your people have been on. Like, it's all the same community of people. I wouldn't necessarily consider Jake Ellenberger part of that community of people.
Me neither.
You know, so it was just super weird, super weird.
Yeah.
And have you talked to, like, I don't know how close you are with Joey, but have you talked? Like, it's just weird that Joey seeming like, because he's like an old school kind of a dude, and it seems like if somebody was fucking over one of his friends, not paying a debt, that he would have some strong opinions on that.
I would think the same, and, you know, I think in my head, like, I cannot believe this same group of people, if somebody dare steal a fucking joke, they ruin their life.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit upsetting to me, particularly because we're from the same neighborhood, particularly because I know that Joey was sort of raised by his neighborhood.
Yeah.
When he had when his mother passed away. So I would think there would be a few levels of things that I would think he would relate to me about.
Yeah.
And when Jackie first showed up, The Degenerates had released on Netflix. So I called him to be like, I watched this and it was like awesome. So he knew I was going to out these guys. He knew the whole story. Lee had known for a while. So it's like they knew about this.
Right.
And even on the phone, Joey definitely made it like, I've heard terrible things about John Orlando. Like, you're like the 30th person I've heard this from. So like John Orlando's known to be a dick, but he didn't want to go against Jake. And weird. I get what people think. Oh no, reconnecting. Oh no.
I got you.
I hope that you could hear me.
I can hear you. Yeah, I hear you.
Poor network. No.
I don't know.
I don't know if you could hear me or not.
I can. Can you hear me?
I wish I could press something to see. Oh, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, there we go.
Okay.
It went away.
Yeah.
I get it, why people think this is a nice guy, because I thought that and I believed it. But it's like what I know, I think people, because I'm like a crazy bitch and I think people think I'm nuts, but Lenny's a very nice guy.
Yeah.
So it's like this MMA professional fighter came to my fucking house, sat in my living room and lied to my face. There's obviously an element of intimidation there.
Sure.
What am I supposed to do? Call the cops? Like he came with a little bit of money to get the equipment back. So it's not like I just handed over the equipment. He basically bought back his own equipment.
Yeah.
But it's shitty to me that during this time period that like anyone would go out of their way to give this guy a platform.
Yeah.
Particularly two guys who know me, who know my husband, who know what we're doing.
Yeah.
Who got me involved with these liars. And it's really crazy to me that Lee didn't call me at all and say this is happening or anything, hasn't talked to me at all.
Right.
So to me, that's like kind of, I'm offended at that a little bit.
So have you not talked to Lee? So have you not talked to Lee since?
No, I saw that Jake was on the show because I saw it on Twitter just like anyone else. And I like I had said when I was doing this, like Lee was like, let me know when you go after them. And I sent it to him and he didn't like it or retweet it or react at all.
Man.
He sent me something John Orlando had put up because John Orlando blocked me so I couldn't see. So, I mean, I don't really want any trouble with those two guys.
Sure.
I like those two guys. I don't really feel like
I don't think
they like me that much to do this. But
that's your own fault, though.
I figured I would definitely, I would think I would call them. Again, I have no reason. I have nothing to promote specifically right now. But at some point, that TV show is going to come on. And I'm just going to guess that that's going to happen before fucking Jake Ellenberger ends up back on TV.
Right.
So it's like,
well, he might go to like Bellator or something. They like to get a lot of retired guys over there.
Yeah, I was thinking that. And there's just a part of me too that's like,
or Ryzen or something.
He'll never win again. Like, like I have that thing in my head where it's like I don't know why, because I'm not religious and I'm not that superstitious, but there's just this little part of me like this guy's never going to fucking win another fight until he makes right here. Yeah. And I don't think he's going to do right by me at all. Why would he now?
Yeah.
Except this could get worse theoretically.
I mean, if there was like an uproar online about it, if like publicly they were getting shamed, then I think that they would probably do it to, because it's all ego and like how they're perceived by, the normies or whatever, however they refer to them. But so I'm assuming you haven't gone on church since all of that. Would you go on there? Would you go on there? Would you talk about it?
I would go if I was asked. I don't think it doesn't seem to me like they would let me talk about it because it seems to me like this is obviously their boy.
Yeah, but it's like
bringing. It's so bizarre
of the censorship. Like, wouldn't you? That's so crazy. That's so crazy that like. I mean, obviously, if you went on there and you told your side of it, or just a side of it, because I'm sure they're not talking about shit.
They're absolutely not, because it's like if Jake Ellenberger went on there and was like, fuck Vicky Pezza, here's why, I would have at least gotten one tweet about it.
Yeah.
So I know it went unmentioned, and it's so crazy to me to think. And then there's a part of me too that is almost like, I kind of love that Jake had to basically go there and kiss Lee's ass, knowing that Lee quit on him and left him flat. So now you're basically back with, and I know he didn't promote Action Junkies either, because again, I would have heard that. I didn't watch it. I don't want to watch this fucking guy.
Yeah, I didn't watch it either.
It's crazy to me that, I don't know, like, again, maybe sometimes I'm a little much, or maybe I talk too much and shit, but it's weird to me. Like, I don't know how much Joey knows or gives a shit. I know he knows the basics, but Lee knew the whole thing. And it's like, you're stand up now, like you're comic now. I thought comics are supposed to tell the truth. And to me, this isn't telling the truth. But at the end of the day, I don't have that blue check mark. I cannot get you UFC tickets. I don't have as much value as him, which is disgusting. But it's sad. That's like the way I feel like it works.
Right.
But I feel like that's the way it works.
It's politics bullshit.
And it's just weird to me. Again, like, this is a rich person. This is a man who literally ripped me off money for work. And this is kind of, to me, the same group of people who, like, ruined Carlos Mencia's life. I'm not saying it was undeserved, but it's like, again, if somebody stole a joke or a tweet, my God, it would be the end of them.
Yeah.
And this is something where it's like, hey, I'm this totally powerless person during the Me Too movement.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not accusing them of anything like that, but you know what I'm saying? It's like, these are facts. This happened. And I see the same people online every day, like, oh, the working man and this and that. And it's like, well, what about, like, I'm someone that you could stand, and I'm someone also that's done a lot for a lot of the people here. And
It's
pretty crazy.
That's one thing that, like, that led me to kind of stepping away from, like, social media and all that shit, was like, a lot of people just felt empowered to be, like, really horrible people. And it's like, and like their true kind of nature kind of shown, kind of came through of what, and it's disappointing. It's so disappointing. It's, what are you going to do? But it's like, in another era, it would have been like all over the place. And like, this would have been a huge thing. But you can get away with that shit, surprisingly, because it's so much stuff going on now. It sucks. It sucks.
Yeah,
I mean, it could have been a lot worse, for sure.
Yeah.
Thankfully, it wasn't worse.
Right.
But it could have been way better. But at least you know. At least you know. And, I mean, that sucks, too, with the church,
Yeah, because it's kind of
disappointing.
Like that. I felt like that was my place.
Like family.
I'm a Five Timers Club.
Yeah.
Family, for sure. And more than just because of podcasting and comedy, because of New Jersey, like because of the East Coast. Lee's someone that's like frequently at my house with my husband, hanging out. We would get UFCs together and stuff. And it's like, I don't know, maybe he feels like I shouldn't have done that because he would, like, maybe he doesn't like that I rock the boat first. But again, why would you want a connection that rips somebody off? I don't understand that. And that's just not who I am. I didn't want the attention of this. I wanted the money. That's it. I didn't want any of this. But when I'm going to, small claims court and they're telling me I'm powerless because of John lives in Vegas. And then I go online and I saw that car. There was no more reasonableness. I'm just thinking about how, especially too, once Jackie was actually here, it's like, this is the girl who those two fucking assholes, they're taking money. They're taking food out of her mouth.
Right.
They're taking, shit away from her. I can't have that.
You should do like a mockumentary kind of trailer thing, like really dramatic, slow cuts of like, you've heard of the Fire Fest. Well, let's take it deeper to a one-on-one where artists are being, lied to. And I think you could put together a really touching, you could make people cry, I think.
Sarah McLachlan, if I could get her involved, and
I mean, well,
use some of your music.
The internet's kind of gray area with some of that. Although then it's a little of hypocritical if you're taking other people's stuff, but.
Right, exactly. And I thought of that too, but and you're mixed, like that other company who, like, they're the only one that commented out of all of the sponsors for the show and stuff. Right. And they were basically like, sorry this happened, but like, it's not our problem or something. And it's like, man, if they had given me material and I used it in good faith, and then a producer said to me, yo, they owe me $6,000 and you're cutting up my shit, I would have been furious with them for giving me that product and making like I had the right to use it. Yeah. But for some reason, You're Mixed and their Grammy certified team decided that they're going to come at me somehow and kind of twist things like, he's talking about the instrumental song, and I did come up with that. And it's like, that's not the fucking theme song. The theme song is the clips of the show cut to your song, which I was provided. Here's, here's that email where I'm given the song. I have to keep plugging in, sorry. But my battery keeps dying. It was, that's just another crazy thing, man. Like these asshole guys. And, well, I will say who did come out is, the Dollop, Dave Anthony, Gareth Reynolds, Evan. Yeah. Well, that's good. They all made a big deal out of it, but even that wasn't enough to make a difference. Really.
How did they come out? What did they do? Was there a dollop? Did they do a dollop on it? They should do a dollop on it.
If they did a dollop on it, like,
I mean, they do so many shows. I would be
paid.
Yeah.
Right. I would have gotten paid by now if they did. No, he just Dave Anthony used the Dollop's Twitter feed to spread all the shit, and then John Orlando was arguing with him. Like, so this was like a big fight. But this was all around maybe Thanksgiving. Okay. It was all like November. So what happens is like how you found it like later, like I just have it pinned, and then like something will happen where like something will come up and someone will find it and it'll kind of rehash it a little bit. That's all that I could really hope for. Right. But I didn't say anything to like Lee or Joey, like, what the fuck, guys? Cause I would like to be able to go on and talk about like the show and everything that we're doing. But, it was definitely, to me, timed in a way that it's like, I felt like you're taking his side here. And I feel like I would imagine Jake called and was like, can I come on? Yeah. Because he was taking such abuse on Twitter. And if you even look up, if you search his ad, it's like, if you just scroll down, it's a crazy amount. It's like more people are shitting on him about this than are liking him being all high on the show. Like he definitely,
So like, there are people that are like on your side.
Oh, he got a lot of shit. It was pretty much unanimous. Right. Yeah, he got a ton of shit. And I think that worried him. And he's like, I got to go out there. Because it's like, well, what's going to get more attention than Vicky Pezza's Twitter feed? Literally anything. Like, I don't have that many people. Yeah. Go on a big podcast, which again, he could do. He has the numbers. He has the check mark. He has the story.
Let me win him over. I think it's
bullshit.
Right.
Huh?
What's his story?
Well, like he's a professional athlete and I'm not. Well, like I'm just like a girl, like, hey, what's up? But to me, he's not a professional athlete anymore.
No.
Yeah. Not till.
And professional athlete. Professional athlete isn't necessarily a prerequisite for being a certain type of person. This means you're athletic.
Right.
Doesn't mean there's a lot of rapists and murderers that are super athletic, Exactly. It doesn't qualify you as a person.
Exactly. But, he just seemed like a really nice guy.
I'm sure.
We knew he was
seems
a Marine, and
he seems like a nice guy that that like just believes in bullshit. Like they trust people more. Like maybe some people that have been fucked over their entire life are a little bit wary about, getting in bed with somebody that's clearly lying about shit all the time. And then there's people that are like, oh, I trust them. A lot of religious people are like that. Yeah. They're like super gullible and get taken advantage of all the time because they're just blindly trusting people.
Right, right.
So maybe he's that type of guy. But
And I really felt like, because I had said it from the beginning, like, to Jake, I mean, like, once John started getting real shady and started, like, it was very, very, it was like a verbal abuse directed at me. Once he didn't have that money in January,
yeah.
you got to see, because I didn't put out anything that I would consider private communications. The shit that guy texted me about how I get it. It's not like you're not getting the money at all. What do you want me to do, Vicky? Go outside and pick money off a tree? That's a real text message from Tony Orlando's son. And Jake's in the thread, so he's like, reading all this too.
But the crazy thing is, rich people have crazy shit, and he might have a tree that grows money, and he's just really tired of going out and having to rake up the leaves.
Like, right, exactly. Like, you don't really want me to go
out
there.
Yeah,
right.
Fucking asshole, though.
And yeah, like, and I remember, because Jake just made it like Jake was so apologetic about John, and that he's going to do it. If I can just wait till his UFC fight, he'll take care of this whole thing. And I said to him, it's like, you understand nobody knows who John Orlando is. They only know who UFC fighter Jake Ellenberger is and who Tony Orlando is.
Yeah.
So anything that happens from here, I said, I'm never going to let this go. So if you don't pay it, then it's just going to become, everyone's going to know about this.
Yeah.
And it's really going to make you look bad and Tony Orlando look bad, who has nothing to do with anything, because no one knows who John is.
Yeah.
I know, believe me. And it's just bullshit. Because again, this is just a guy that it's like, literally, like, what am I supposed to do about it? Kick his ass. That's it.
Right.
It's like, I really have no recourse. And what is my recourse going to be? Let's say I did hire a lawyer. Let's say I won the court case, which I think I would. They can't compel them to pay.
Yeah.
So then it just becomes me flying to Vegas and spending money. Now they've taken me for even more money.
Yeah.
So it just seemed like, well, I need to do $6,000 worth of damage.
Yeah. Well,
and I don't think I've hit in the 3,000 mark. This is never going to stop.
Yeah. That's not even close to the damage. Yeah, that's bullshit. Yeah, it wouldn't even be. Yeah, when you were talking about like suing them, okay, but it's like they're not going to pay, and I'm sure they fucked. You can't be the only person that's awaiting payment from them,
Right.
Unless you could do, I don't know if you could do a class action, like you team up with all the other businesses.
I definitely thought of that,
I don't know if that changes, if they're more compelled to pay, if it's a class action lawsuit. It's just,
right. And if because John went out of his way to get this LLC and do all this shit after the fact, and I have all this evidence, to me, it's almost like, at what point are you committing fraud where I go to the police?
Yeah,
exactly. I've thought of that too. Like, what if I just went to the police and it's like, this guy's committing fraud. Look at this thing.
Yeah.
I don't know that. It's just, to me, it's definitely criminal what he's doing.
Because I would imagine if they're not stressed about paying you, then it's because they have like way bigger debts that they already owe people,
Right.
In which case,
that's another thing. They're gamblers.
Yeah.
So it's almost like dealing with junkies, literally. It's that's the name of the show, but it's like they're especially Jake is on the show laughing about gambling away again the amount of money he owes me, and It's like a big joke to them, and it's like, holy shit, like, if you're actually to the point where like you're gambling away thousands while you're robbing. Like, I worked with these guys for 14 months. I didn't just meet them.
Yeah.
I never dreamed. They had so much to lose. I never dreamed they wouldn't pay, because I told them I would do exactly what I did. But I guess they just doesn't matter to them. Yeah. But I'm still talking about it.
Right. Yeah. Well,
you're still talking about it.
I'm trying to do what I can, I wish that, hopefully it'll blow up. Joe Rogan needs to get you on and do a little episode.
No one gives a shit. I know. No one gives a shit. Like anyone like that, like, could have helped.
I mean,
me
even
so
church,
much,
like, it would make the most sense. Like, it's weird. The universe has turned into a very fucking weird place. Like, what would make most sense, it would be you're getting fucked over, so Joey gets you on to be like, hey, let's rally the troops and let's get Vicky paid.
Yeah.
But it's disappointing. Let's just say this
Yeah.
universe, this reality is like a lot of people are just finding new ways to disappoint, it seems.
Right. And it's like, I mean, my only comfort is that someone like you sees he's on, and your mind immediately goes to what you're thinking. That's
what
my
the
own,
fuck?
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where you're like, wow, that's a weird take.
This doesn't make sense.
Right.
Like, and that was before.
Know.
It's even crazier because when I was thinking that, I totally forgot that Lee was at all part of it. So that, I mean, your producer got fucked over and he's there. But I mean, I don't know Lee, but Lee doesn't seem like the type of person to really rattle, fluff any feathers or anything.
No,
like he seems like a
all.
very kind of passive kind of, let's just hopefully survive this situation and avoid the bad situations if possible.
Right.
It's
definitely like to me, if it was reversed and I was working on a show where someone I knew fucked him over and that he was coming out, like I would definitely have been like, yo, guess who's coming into work today? Like where it's like, yo, I have no control over this. I'm just the worker.
Yeah.
I would have said something. It's weird to me that nothing ever got said. To me, that's a little like,
I don't know.
Guilty. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, it seems like something you would know bothers me. But also I understand now that it's like we're in these different, almost like a flop here, switch, because now Lee is basically in the position to have to, he's doing stand up. He needs to get on shows, right? It's like, you got to do what you got to do. And if that's being nice to Jake's not going to help you in any way. Like that's not going to help you at all. But it's like, I know there's like other people in town who don't love me, and I see Lee like on their flyer, and I get that. It's like I get that. But there just seemed to be no good to come of this at all, except like the only thing this could do is hurt my feelings.
Yeah.
And I think that's why Jake did it. And that's another thing too. Like, wow, you fucking coward.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And Jake's younger than me. So I really just think like, you fucking pussy. Like, okay, you couldn't beat Mike Perry, but you're going to beat Vicky Pezza at her own game? Fuck you. And I thought about that too, about just basically being like, yo, if like you beat Jake Ellenberger, like I'll work on your show for a discount. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just like shit like that. But it's like, I really don't even want to, like, let me settle my own life first and then see.
Yeah.
Before I start taking on more like UFC fighters. But it sucks not to have any of that. Because even like, I just happened to see that fight because Lenny wanted to see Silva. Like, I could have easily not have watched,
right,
where I was up on all of it because I'm talking about it all the time.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's hard.
Well, at least other parts of your life seem to be going good.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. It's a huge departure.
Right. That's cool though.
It's a totally different life, but I'm the same more or less.
Yeah. Well, you're just a mom of a teenager now.
Yeah, no big deal.
That's just like, that's an easy transition from from dealing with children that owe you money to dealing with children that you freely spend money on.
Exactly. I saw one of the tweets, John Orlando, because that's the thing. He blocked me, but then was fighting with people who were going after him, like I guess on my behalf.
Right.
And he said to one of them, when if she wants to get paid, she knows how to find me when she decides to stop acting like a child. And it's like, we're taking in foster teens and you're decorating your car in decals.
But it's like, what does that mean?
Car.
What are you supposed to be like Suge Knight hanging him outside of a balcony window by his feet?
Right.
Like what is that like? Like that's how debts are paid. It's like,
exactly.
You got to track me down.
To track him down
and shake my pockets out.
And Dave Anthony said something to him about it. He's like, you're doing this is just an intimidation.
Yeah.
Like you're doing this just to intimidate her. And it is, because it's like, I deliberately don't want to talk to this guy because he's so fucked up and mean.
Yeah.
But there is going to just reach a point where, like, Gareth was like, record yourself calling him every day so people can see that you are. Because of course I had Lenny calling this guy.
Right.
Why would I not call? Why wouldn't that be the first thing?
Yeah.
So he's just lying, and I feel like it's obvious, but I just didn't want to make it easy for him. I would hope that Galpin and all his sponsors saw that thread and were like, what the fuck?
Right.
At minimum, if him and Jake had an argument about it. But again, that doesn't pay my bills.
Yeah, exactly. Which, no matter what, even if there is an I mean, I guess that would be the only way they would try and deal with it.
Right.
I don't know. Well,
yeah.
Let's wrap it up, Vicky. It's been like 2 hours. Yeah. And
I got social workers coming. I
right.
got a kid I got to pick up.
You got
soon.
A whole bunch of stuff. Well, it was a lot of fun catching up with you.
Same.
Hopefully.
I probably talked so much shit. I shouldn't have even said half this, but that's always how it is on this show.
That's what
I always say too much.
It's just you just say stuff. It's a thing that honest people shouldn't really have much issue with,
Right.
Like, what did I say?
Right.
Versus like, some assholes that like, oh, well, I was drunk. Like, let me just excuse my showing of my true colors there for a moment.
This is probably like the first time I did the show, like not high.
Yeah,
like I didn't smoke. Yeah, right. So
this is sober midday podcast. We're growing up, people.
I know.
Things change. All right, that's it for this episode with Vicky Pezza. I hope you enjoyed the interview. I apologize again for the audio quality, but new episodes of The Ray Taylor Show come out every single day. Subscribe on IGTV, YouTube, and everywhere else podcasts are found. Go buy my artwork over at inspireddisorder.com and save 25% when you use coupon code RT. Follow me on social media at Ray Taylor. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Peace out.